Good morning, dear friend. As the first light stretches across the horizon and the earth exhales the silence of night, there is something sacred about this hour. The world is still, unhurried, reverent. The sky, brushed with shades of gold and quiet blue, seems to whisper secrets only the soul can understand. The morning carries with it a gentle invitation, the kind that does not shout, but softly asks you to pause, to breathe, and to be present in a way the rest of the day may never allow. This moment, just before the world fully awakens, is not just a time, it is holy ground. Maybe today, you come to this hour with a heart that feels anything but whole. Perhaps your pillow is still damp with tears, remnants of another night where sleep lost the battle to anxiety. You might be carrying a burden too heavy for words, the kind that isolates and silences, making you feel as though you are the only one walking through fire. Or maybe you are numb, trying to function while something inside you slowly fades without notice. I once knew someone like that, a woman whose laughter used to fill rooms, whose faith once felt unshakable. But one morning, everything was different. Her eyes looked the same, but behind them was a storm. She had lost someone dear to her, a child, gone too soon. And with that loss came an avalanche of questions that no sermon seemed to answer. She still went to church, still whispered prayers at dinner, but her heart had quietly curled up into silence. She was existing, but not living. Surviving, but not breathing. She did not need someone to fix her pain. She needed to be reminded that she was not forgotten in it. She needed to remember that the blessing of God is not reserved for those who feel strong or whole or full of joy. It is for the broken too, for the grieving, for the ones who show up even when their faith feels like a thread. And maybe that someone is you today. You see, the beauty of prayer is not that it changes everything around us instantly. The beauty is that it changes us softly, deeply, in places we did not even know were closed. Prayer is not performance. It is not perfection. It is permission. It is you, giving heaven permission to move in your life, not because God needs it, but because you need to welcome it. You need to remember that you are not walking alone. This morning, you are invited into something far deeper than routine. Not just a habit, not a checkbox, but a journey. A sacred journey through words that will lead you from fear to faith, from weariness to strength, from silence to the sound of your own voice rising again in truth. This is not a list of wishes. It is not a hollow chant. It is a conversation real, raw, and holy. Over the next 24 chapters, we will walk together through a prayer that does not pretend life is easy. A prayer that acknowledges the weight many carry, but points us toward the one who carries it with us. We will move through seasons of sorrow, declarations of faith, memories of pain, and promises of restoration. And through it all, there is one truth that will hold us steady. You are already blessed, not because life is perfect, but because there is a God who has called you by name, who speaks over you even when no one else does, who sees value in you that the world cannot erase. So, dear friend, As the sun begins to rise and the breath of morning still lingers in the air, I invite you to step into this sacred space. Let your soul lean in. Let your heart open, even if it still trembles. You do not need to be ready. You do not need to have the right words. You only need to begin. Welcome to the conversation that could change everything, not out there, but in here. Welcome to your morning prayer. Let us walk it together. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you this morning with a heart that feels heavy and tired. The sky is waking up, but I still feel like I am stuck in the dark. The world is quiet around me, but inside, there is noise that will not rest. There are questions I cannot answer, fears I cannot silence, and sadness that lingers even after the tears have dried. I do not come pretending to be strong today. I come simply because I need you. Some mornings feel impossible. Some moments feel like they stretch forever, and I wonder if you are still near. I wonder if you see me sitting in this silence, trying to hold myself together while everything inside feels like it is falling apart. I do not have the right words. I do not have the strength to dress this up. I am just here, raw and exposed, reaching for something greater than myself. I have tried to be brave. I have tried to smile through the H and carry the weight like it was mine alone to bear. But the truth is I am wary. I am not lost in the sense that I do not know who you are. I am lost because I do not know where I am anymore. I feel like I have been walking with a blindfold on, bumping into disappointment after disappointment. And now I am just sitting still, afraid to move. I need you to meet me here, in this low and quiet place, not with loud answers or grand solutions, but with your nearness. I do not need a miracle in this moment. I just need to know you have not left me. I need to feel that you still see me, still know me, still care. Because when life becomes this heavy, it is hard to remember what is true. It is hard to believe that I matter, that I am not invisible in the weight of it all. Speak to me through the silence. Let your voice rise above the noise in my mind that tells me I am not enough, that I will never make it through. Remind me that even in the darkness, I am not alone. Remind me that this place is not the end of my story. There is more than this moment. There is still purpose buried beneath the pressure. There is still light behind the clouds I cannot see through yet. I feel buried, like something precious lost beneath years of pain, rejection, and fear. But if I am honest, there is still a flicker of hope in me, just enough to whisper this prayer, just enough to reach for you. If you are the one who shapes diamonds out of dust, then surely you can bring something beautiful out of me. Even if I cannot see it now, even if all I feel is the weight of what has not happened and the H of what has been lost. I do not ask for you to take all the pain away. I ask you to be with me in it. I ask you to help me breathe again, to help me believe that there is something more than this darkness. I want to believe that blessing is not reserved for those who have it all together, but also for those who come broken and unsure. If there is grace for the weary, let it find me this morning. If there is comfort for the hurting, let it wrap around me like the dawn. This moment is all I have. This quiet stretch of time before the world demands everything from me again. So I offer it to you, not as someone strong or sure, but as someone willing to be held, willing to be seen, willing to hope again. I do not want to pretend anymore. I want to be honest. I want to lay it all at your feet without fear of judgment, without fear of being too much or not enough. You know the weight I carry, the things I never say out loud, the fears that wake me in the night, the doubts that whisper when I try to pray. You know the emptiness that sometimes creeps in even when I am surrounded by people. You know the pain I try to hide behind my smile. So I will not hide from you today. I will bring it all to you, the mess, the H, the questions, the confusion, and I will trust that you are strong enough to hold it all. I do not need you to explain everything. I just need to know you are here, that you have not forgotten me, that you still call me yours, even when I feel like I have lost myself. I want to believe again, even if it starts with only a whisper. I want to trust that blessing is not something I have to earn, but something you already declared over my life before I even knew how to ask for it. Let your peace come, not because I understand everything, but because I trust that you are still good. Let your comfort come, not because the pain is gone, but because you sit with me in the middle of it. Let your truth rise above the lies I have believed. Let your love quiet the storm that rages inside of me. If there is healing, let it begin here. If there is restoration, let it rise from this broken ground. I may not feel blessed right now. I may not feel whole, but I believe that feeling is not the same as fact. You have spoken over me, and I will choose to listen, even if my heart is slow to follow. Help me hear again. Help me see through the fog. Help me take one step, even if it is a small one, in the direction of your presence. This morning, I bring you what I have, not polished words, not perfect faith, just a heart that wants to be held, just a soul that needs rest, just a life that longs for more than what this darkness has offered. And I believe that you are not far. I believe that you draw near to the broken-hearted, and that you collect every tear, even the ones that fall in silence. So if you are near, let me feel it. If you are speaking, let me hear. If you are moving, let me follow. I do not ask for the whole path, only the next step. I do not ask for perfection, only presence. I do not ask for clarity, only closeness. This is where I begin, not with answers, but with surrender, not with certainty, but with longing, not with light, but with a flicker that hopes for morning to come fully. I am here. I am open. I am yours. Father, I am still here, still speaking to you from this quiet place where the morning unfolds slowly and my soul sits exposed. I did not come expecting everything to change overnight, but I came because something in me refuses to let go of you, even when I cannot trace you, even when your silence feels louder than the noise in my heart. I keep reaching, because what else is there? Father, if not you? The stillness is both comforting and unsettling. Part of me longs to rest in it, and part of me aches for you to break it. Say something. Do something. Show me that you hear, I do not want to live off memories of when I felt close to you. I need something now. Something fresh. Something real. I need to know that when I speak, I am not just echoing into the air. I need to know that my voice, though quiet and trembling, still reaches you. You say you are near to the brokenhearted. Then be near to me now. I do not ask you to take away every wound or fix every broken part in a single breath. I ask you to show me that you are not distant in my pain, that I do not have to perform my way into your presence, that you are not waiting for me to be stronger or more faithful before you respond. I am not strong today, and I will not pretend to be. I am not sure of much, but I am sure of this: I need you to answer. Not with thunder, not with spectacle, just with a whisper, just with a presence that fills the emptiness I carry. I am not trying to impress you with my words. I am simply opening a door and asking you to walk through it. I have come honestly, with every part of me that feels undone. And now I ask, gently but boldly, that you speak into this silence, that you remind me I am not lost in the crowd, not forgotten in the flow of a busy world. You know the weight of waiting. You know what it means to plead from a place of uncertainty. You know the tears that fall before the answer comes. So I ask you now, not for a finished story, but for a response, a touch, a word, a moment, something that tells me you are near, something that reminds me I am not praying into emptiness, something that brings life to these dry bones. I am tired of pretending to be okay, tired of telling others I am fine when I am not, tired of holding my breath, waiting for the breakthrough that seems delayed without reason. I am not trying to manipulate you. I am not bargaining or demanding. I am simply laying bare my need, because you are the only one I trust to handle it with care. I do not know what tomorrow holds. I do not even know what this afternoon might bring. But I know that I cannot carry this heart alone anymore. So I ask you, Father, to come into this Aish and dwell here. Make your home in the middle of my questioning. Settle into the cracks where hope has started to fade. Let your voice be the one that rises above the noise of fear. Let your love be the loudest thing I hear today. I am not looking for grand answers. I am looking for you, the real you, the one who knows me better than I know myself, the one who knit me together and still holds all the threads, even when I feel like they are unraveling in my hands. I have tried to fix things on my own. I have tried to be everything to everyone. I have tried to keep it all together so no one would worry. But I am coming to the end of myself. And maybe that is the beginning of something sacred. Maybe this is what surrender actually looks like. Not a dramatic gesture, but a quiet confession: I cannot do this alone. I do not want to do this without you. I do not need you to explain the delay. I do not need you to justify the silence. I need you to be with me in it, to let me feel your nearness even when I cannot trace your hand, to remind me that my prayers are not lost in the void, but held in your heart, to assure me that my voice matters, even when it shakes, that my tears are not wasted, even when they fall unnoticed by others, that my pain has not disqualified me from your presence. If I could hold your hand, I would. If I could hear you whisper, I would lean in close and never let go. I do not ask for the world to be fixed today. I ask for the courage to keep walking in the dark, knowing you are walking beside me. I ask for strength to keep showing up in prayer. Even when it feels like nothing is shifting, I ask for faith that outlasts my feelings. I ask for peace that does not depend on my circumstances. I ask for you. Let this prayer be more than words. Let it be the opening of my soul to something deeper. Let it be the invitation that brings heaven close. Let it be the start of something I cannot yet see, but dare to believe is possible. You are not a distant God. You are a present Father. And even if I do not feel it yet, I choose to believe you are listening. I choose to believe you are already moving. I choose to believe that even in this silence, something sacred is happening. Help me to be patient, not because it is easy, but because I trust you more than I trust the clock. Help me to wait with hope, not resignation. Help me to stand even when I feel like collapsing. Help me to pray even when the answers are delayed. Let this waiting refine me, not harden me. Let it draw me closer to you, not farther away. I do not want to grow bitter in the silence. I want to grow deeper. I want to grow softer. I want to grow still. And so I will sit here as long as it takes. I will keep lifting my voice, even when it feels like a whisper in the wind. I will keep knocking, keep seeking, keep asking, not out of desperation, but out of devotion, because you are the only one who sees me fully and loves me still. You are the only one who has never left, and even now, even here, I believe you are listening. I believe you are close. I believe you are already answering in ways I cannot yet perceive. So I lift this prayer, not as a demand, but as a declaration of trust. I lay it before you, knowing you are faithful, and even if your answer is not what I expect, I know it will be what I need. I do not need the whole picture. I just need the next breath, the next step, the next moment held in your hand. Speak. Father, I am listening. Father, I have not stopped listening. Even in the quiet moments that followed my last prayer, I kept waiting, not because I heard something new, but because something inside me remembered. Not a sound, not a voice, but a feeling, something once so vivid, now faint, yet still alive. I did not expect it, but as I sat in the stillness, something sacred began to stir in the corners of my memory. A flicker, a breath, a trace of light from a time when I knew you were near. It came like a whisper from long ago. Not loud, but clear. I remembered how it felt to wake up with wonder, how my heart used to rise with hope, even before the day had offered me anything to smile about. I remembered the mornings when I did not have all the answers, but I believed you were enough. I remembered the days when your presence felt like warmth on my skin, invisible yet undeniable. That memory did not come to shame me. It came to remind me, to draw me back to something real. I had almost forgotten what it felt like to pray without fear, to speak without hesitation, to believe without needing signs. But this morning, you pulled a thread from the past and laid it gently in my hands. I can feel the weight of it, not as a burden, but as a gift, a reminder that my faith once danced like fire, even in the coldest nights. I want that again. Father, not a copy of what was, but the same closeness, the same light that once lit up my soul from the inside out. It is strange how pain can make us forget joy, how silence can make us question the moments that once felt so full. But today I choose to remember. I choose to reach back, not to live in the past, but to gather strength from it. You have been with me longer than I have known. Your fingerprints are on chapters I never noticed. Your breath was in places I thought were abandoned. And now, I see that what I called silence may have been you holding me in a language deeper than words. I remember when I first knew you were real. It was not through a sermon or a song. It was in a quiet moment when no one was watching, and I felt something shift inside me. Peace, the kind that did not make sense, a presence that wrapped around my worry and melted it away. I was younger then, maybe more open, maybe less guarded. But that moment marked me. It set a seed that no darkness has ever fully uprooted. And now, years later, that seed still pushes toward light. You planted something eternal in me, something the world cannot take away. Even when I forget, it remembers. Even when I drift, it anchors me. Even when I doubt, it whispers truth. That is what I feel this morning. Not a full flame, but a spark. Not a fire, but the breath that could fan it again. And it gives me hope, not because I have found all the answers, but because I have found a piece of myself again, a part that still believes you are near and good and able. I do not want to run from my questions anymore. I want to bring them into the light. I want to walk with them, not as weights, but as companions on the road to deeper faith. You are not afraid of my wandering. You are not distant from my struggle. And I know now that even the questions can lead me back to you when I ask them in the presence of your love. So let this remembering become more than nostalgia. Let it be the beginning of restoration. Let what I recall in glimpses become the groundwork for something new. I do not want to chase what used to be. I want to live fully in what is and what can still come. But I needed this moment. Father, I needed to remember that I have heard you before, that I have known your touch, that I have felt peace that cannot be explained, that I have smiled through tears because you gave me strength I did not know I had. I needed to remember the light because the darkness had started to convince me it was never real. But now I see darkness may last for a night, but it does not erase the dawn. It cannot undo what you have already done. My heart may have wandered, but my spirit knows the way home. And you, Father, have never moved. You have waited with patience I cannot comprehend. You have stood steady while I shifted. You have remained faithful when I forgot how to be grateful. And so I come back not as someone returning to a place, but as someone returning to a person. To you, the same one who met me before will meet me again. The same one who loved me then loves me still. The same one who called me once is calling me now. And I am listening again, not just with my ears, but with my heart, my memory, my whole being. I am listening because I want to hear again. I want to feel again. I want to believe again, not as I once did, but deeper, stronger, freer. You are the God who gives light, even to those who forgot how to look for it. You are the Father who sings over his children, even when their ears are filled with noise. You are the same yesterday, today, and forever. And if you met me once in the stillness, you can do it again. You can meet me now, not because I am deserving, but because you are good. Let this morning be a turning. Let it be a return. Let it be the quiet moment when I stop running, stop hiding, and simply remember who I am and who you are. Let this memory stir a hunger that draws me deeper into prayer, into presence, into peace. I do not need fireworks. I do not need proof. I need presence. I need the whisper I once knew, the stillness that once wrapped around my fear and turned it into faith. I do not come demanding. I come remembering. I come grateful that even when I tried to forget you, you never forgot me. I come willing to believe that what was once bright can burn again, that the first light was not the last, that there is more ahead. The same God who gave me a glimpse once will lead me fully into the light again. So as this morning unfolds, let the light grow. Let the warmth return. Let the spark become steady. Let the past fuel the present, and the present open the door to something new. I am ready, Father, ready to remember, ready to return, ready to walk with you again, step by step, with a heart that recalls the light and dares to believe it is not done shining yet. Father, now that I have remembered the light, now that I have touched again the warmth of those early moments with you, I feel something else rising, something deeper than memory. It is not joy. It is not clarity. It is the quiet H of everything I have allowed to come between me and the truth. The lies I have welcomed, the labels I have worn, the shadows I have agreed to carry without ever asking where they came from. It is strange how lies wrap themselves in familiar language. They speak in the voice of fear, but I have heard them so long they have started to sound like my own thoughts. They do not shout. They whisper. They slip in during the quiet, during the tired, during the moments when my heart is too wary to fight back. And without meaning to, I have believed them. I have let them settle. I have let them define me more than your voice ever should have allowed. But now, Father, I want to name them. I want to speak them out not because they hold power, but because I am ready to remove their grip. I am ready to let your truth replace every sentence I have allowed to shape my worth. I am not what the pain says I am. I am not what the past says I am. I am not the failure. I am not the mistake. I am not the one who is always too much or never enough. I have believed I was invisible, that no one truly sees me. I have believed I had to earn love, perform well, keep quiet to be accepted. I have believed that if I ever showed my real self, I would be left behind. I have believed that strength means silence and weakness means shame. I have believed that broken means beyond repair, that delay means denial, that my flaws are final and my story is stuck. I bring all of these lies to you now, one by one, not to dwell in them, but to dismantle them. I place them at your feet not to feed them with more attention, but to strip them of their disguise. They are not truths, they are chains, and I do not want to wear them anymore. I do not want to live inside a story that you did not write. Your voice, Father, is the one I want to hear again, louder than every echo of doubt that has tried to replace it. You never called me abandoned. You never called me unworthy. You never asked me to hide or pretend. You never tied your love to my performance. You never gave me fear as a gift. You never looked at me with disappointment. You never turned away when I needed comfort the most. So why have I been so quick to believe the words that contradict you? Why have I let them live in the corners of my thoughts like tenants, with no right to stay? Why have I repeated them to myself like truth, when deep down I knew they were not? Maybe it is because I got tired. Maybe it is because pain became too familiar. Maybe it is because when the world keeps handing you the same label, eventually you stop fighting and wear it just to survive. But I do not want to survive lies anymore. I want to live in truth. I want to breathe in what you say about me and exhale everything that does not belong. I want to carry only what you have placed in my hands, not shame, not fear, not the pressure to be perfect, but grace, identity, peace, and promise. I want to walk like someone who has heard the truth and chosen to believe it, even when my feelings protest. Your truth is not always loud. It does not always come with flashing signs or sudden clarity. Sometimes it is just a soft unfolding, a slow, steady unraveling of every falsehood that has woven itself around my heart. But that is enough, even if the healing takes time, even if the renewal is quiet. I will choose it. I will choose to stand in the mirror of your word and see myself as you do, not as a project, but as a person you made with purpose. So speak again, Father, not just to comfort, but to correct, not to shame, but to free. Let your truth expose the lies I have lived with, not to crush me, but to release me. I am tired of agreeing with things that shrink me, bind me, trap me in patterns you never meant for me to carry. I want to break them not by force, but by faith. Not by pretending they were never there, but by confronting them in your light. Help me recognize the voice of the accuser for what it is, a distortion, a counterfeit, a cruel echo of fear. Help me reject every thought that says I am less than chosen. Help me remember that conviction and condemnation are not the same. You convict to heal. The enemy condemns to destroy. I choose healing. I choose to believe that the truth may hurt at first, but it never harms. It cuts to free, not to wound. And as I walk forward from this moment, I ask you to help me be mindful of what I allow to take root. Teach me to catch the lie before it grows. Teach me to pause, to ask, to challenge what enters my heart. Let my spirit grow discerning. Let my soul grow wise. Let my mind become a garden you can dwell in, a place where lies have no space to spread, where truth is the air I breathe and the ground I walk on. Even now, as I pray, I sense the breaking of some old agreements, things I once said about myself, even in jest. I now see for what they were, daggers dressed as humor. Words matter. Thoughts matter. Beliefs build or break us. And I want to be built by you, not broken by deception. So I will start here with confession, with honesty, with openness to be rewritten by the one who knows the original script. You, Father, are not surprised by the lies I have carried. You are not ashamed of the things I have believed. You do not withdraw from me because of them. You draw near, closer than the confusion, closer than the chaos. And in your closeness, the false things lose their hold, because truth does not need to yell to be powerful. It only needs to be received. So I receive it again today. I let go of what was never mine to carry. I release the old names, pick up the one you have always called me beloved. I trade fear for peace, doubt for trust, and shame for dignity. I return to the voice that first called me by name, the one that knew me before I had titles or accomplishments or failures, the voice that sees through the fog and still calls me worthy, still calls me yours. Let your truth be the sound that reclaims the places lies have taken. Let it echo through every room of my heart. Let it replace the silence with clarity. Let it be the foundation I rebuild on. From here, I will move forward lighter, clearer, freer. Not perfect, but present. Not finished, but healing. Not defined by my past, but held by a future that speaks a better name. A future written by you and grounded in truth that does not change. Father, now that I have begun to name the lies and feel the weight of them falling away, I find myself standing at a fragile edge, the space between knowing the truth and choosing to believe it. It is not as simple as flipping a switch. Belief is more than knowledge. It is surrender. It is trust. And I will be honest with you. Father, trust does not come easily anymore. After disappointment, after silence, after seasons where everything felt distant, trust feels like trying to walk on water while remembering how many times I have sunk. But here I am, standing on this edge with trembling feet, and something inside me still wants to step forward, not because I feel brave, but because I know you are steady, not because I am full of answers, but because I am done carrying the weight of doubt. The lies tried to rewrite my story, but now that I see them for what they are, I want to live differently. I want to move forward with truth, not just in my mind, but in my heart. I want to believe again. Belief, for me, does not mean having it all figured out. It does not mean pretending the pain never happened. It means waking up and choosing to trust that you are who you say you are, even when I cannot yet see what you are doing. It means giving you the benefit of the doubt when my feelings are still catching up to my faith. It means saying yes to your word again, even when I have grown used to saying maybe. Father, I don't want to stay stuck in a place of hesitation. I do not want to keep waiting until everything looks safe before I open my heart again. I want to lean in now. I want to say it out loud, I believe. Not with perfection, not without wrestling, but with a heart that longs to be real with you. I believe that you are good. I believe that you are near. I believe that you are working, even when I cannot feel it. I believe that you have not changed, even though I have. Help me believe not just in my head, but in the places that still hurt, in the corners of my soul that flinch when you come close, in the memories that try to replay failure more loudly than faith. Help me believe that your love is still my home, that I have not wandered too far, that even in this moment of reaching, you are already here, already holding, already healing. Let belief rise like sunlight, soft but certain. Let it warm the places that have grown cold from disappointment. Let it soften the hard edges of my resistance. Let it enter slowly, but stay deeply. I do not need emotional fireworks. I need something steady, a quiet yes in my spirit that I can return to when doubts begin to rise again. I need a truth that will outlast the highs and the lows. There was a time when I believed so easily, when faith felt like breathing, when I woke up with wonder and trusted that if you said it, it was already true. I miss that simplicity, not because I want to go backward, but because I know belief is still available to me now. I just have to choose it again, not like I did before, but in a deeper, more grounded way. A belief that has walked through fire and still chooses to lift its head. I know what it feels like to carry disappointment like armor, to brace myself for things not to work out, to guard my heart so well that nothing can touch it, not even you. But I do not want to live that way anymore. I want to believe boldly again, to hope freely again, to trust you enough to open the gates I have kept locked. Not because everything will suddenly be easy, but because you are worth the risk. Your love is worth the vulnerability. And if I fall again, if I falter, if belief slips from my grip, I know now that you will not shame me for it. You will reach again, like you always do. You will lift again, like you have before. You will meet me where I am, even if I am halfway between fear and faith. So I will not wait for perfect belief to pray. I will pray from the in-between. I will pray from the stretch, from the climb, from the choice to believe even when my hands still shake. This is not a one-time decision, it is a daily one. I choose to believe again today. I choose to believe that my voice matters to you, that my presence in this moment is not an accident, that the desire to know you more is not just a flicker, is a seed you planted. I choose to believe that I am not forgotten, that I am not too late, that it is not too hard for you to reach the places I have hidden. Even in the moments when I want to retreat, when the old patterns of fear tell me it is safer to stay small, remind me that faith was never meant to be fragile. It was meant to be fierce, not loud, but alive, not perfect, but persistent. Let that kind of faith rise in me, the kind that chooses to pray again, to hope again, to love again, to believe that you are not finished writing my story, and that where I am now is not where I will always be. I have waited for signs. I have waited for circumstances to change. But this morning, I choose not to wait for evidence. I choose to respond to truth, to say yes before I see the outcome, to agree with your word before I feel the fruit. That is what belief looks like now, not certainty, but commitment, not control, but surrender. I will walk forward with open hands, with eyes that look for you in every place, with a heart that says yes even while it heals. So here I am, Father, choosing again, choosing to believe that you are still writing beauty into my life, choosing to believe that I am not disqualified, choosing to believe that nothing is wasted, that even this journey, this long stretch of questioning and return is part of the blessing you are building. I do not have to understand it all. I only have to stay with you. Thank you for being patient while I wavered. Thank you for not turning away when I doubted. Thank you for staying close when I stopped praying. You never forced me to believe. You simply waited. And now that I am here, even with questions still lingering, I say yes, not a loud yes, not a flawless yes, but a true one. A quiet, steady, chosen yes. I believe again, and I will keep believing as I keep walking toward the light you never stopped shining over me. Father, in the quiet that follows my choice to believe again, I begin to hear something I did not expect, a voice, soft but steady, rising beneath the noise of fear and the weight of past failures. It does not sound like the inner critic I have grown used to. It does not sound like the echoes of the world trying to define me by its shifting standards. It sounds deeper, older, truer. It sounds like you. I recognize it, not because it is loud, but because it is familiar. It is the voice that first spoke light into the dark, the voice that whispered peace when chaos surrounded me, the voice that calls me not by my mistakes, but by my name. And this morning, in this sacred stillness, I realize what I have been missing all along. It is not a plan or a clear path forward. It is identity. It is knowing again who I am, because I remember who you are. When I forget who I am, everything starts to unravel. The doubts grow louder. The pressure feels heavier. The lies gain strength. But when I remember who I am in you, there is a shift, a stillness settles, a fire returns. Because I was never meant to define myself apart from your voice. I was never meant to chase worth in places that cannot give it. I was always meant to live from the center of who you say I am. So today, I ask you to help me listen again, not to the voices around me, not even to my own insecurities, but to the steady, unshakable truth you have been speaking over me since the beginning. You have called me beloved. You have called me chosen. You have called me your own. These are not titles I earn. They are truths I receive, not because I am perfect, but because you are faithful. Let your voice drown out the noise of comparison. Let it silence the narrative that says, I have to be more or prove myself to be enough. Let it remind me that I was never created to be a copy of someone else. I was never expected to carry what was never mine. I was never asked to perform for love I already have. My identity is not built on success or appearance or applause. It is rooted in you, and that is enough. Sometimes I forget how powerful your words are, how one sentence from you can undo years of shame, how one truth can rebuild what fear tried to tear down. So speak to me again, Father, not just in general, but personally. Tell me who I am to you. Remind me that I am not forgotten, that I am not invisible, that I am not too far gone, that the essence of who I am has never changed in your eyes. Even if life has buried it under layers of doubt, help me to see myself through your eyes, not through the distorted lenses of failure, rejection, or regret. Help me to walk through this day not questioning my worth, but carrying it with quiet confidence. Not because I am pretending to be strong, but because I am finally anchored in something unshakable. I am yours, and that truth alone reshapes everything. Let your voice speak louder than the culture that tells me I am not enough. Let it cut through the scripts that say I have to hustle for value or shrink to fit in. Let it echo through the parts of me that still feel lost or uncertain. I do not need clarity about everything else if I am secure in who I am in you. Identity is the root from which everything else grows. And today, I choose to plant myself deeply in what you say. Remind me that my story is not defined by detours, that who I am is not based on what I have done or failed to do. Remind me that even in my weakest moments, I am not less loved, that even in seasons of waiting or wandering, my identity has not been revoked. You still call me your child. You still see purpose in me. You still place your hand on my life and say, this one belongs to me. When I move from this place of identity, I walk differently. I pray differently. I hope differently. Because I no longer beg for what you have already given. I no longer shrink when I am called to rise. I no longer let fear hold the pen when you are writing my name in grace. Let that kind of knowing settle deep into my spirit this morning. Let it quiet the striving. Let it ground me when everything around me feels uncertain. There will always be voices that try to define me. There will always be noise that pushes me to doubt. But if I learn to return to your voice first, if I make space every day to hear what you say before I listen to the world, I know I will find peace that is not shaken by opinion or outcome. I will remember that my foundation was never meant to be popularity or productivity, but presence, your presence. Always enough. Always near. So speak it again. Father, not just to my mind, but to my spirit. Speak it until I believe it, until I live like it is true, until I stop apologizing for existing and start rejoicing in who you made me to be. Speak it until I stop measuring myself by standards you never set. Speak it until shame loses its grip and freedom becomes my rhythm. Speak it until my steps match your voice and my choices reflect my name. I am not too broken to carry this name. I am not too behind to start walking in it now. I am not too late to come home to who I have always been. And even when I do not feel it, I will declare it, because feelings shift, but your word stays, because my mood may change, but my name in you does not, because this is not about pretending, it is about agreeing. It is about standing in alignment with what you already know is true. Let this day begin not with fear of what lies ahead, but with the confidence of knowing I do not walk into it empty. I walk into it clothed in identity, covered in truth, held by grace. And when challenges come, when confusion knocks, when old labels try to return, I will speak the name you have given me louder than the names I have shed. I will remind my heart who I am. I will look in the mirror and speak truth over what I see, even if my eyes are slow to believe. I belong to you. That is the starting point and the staying power. That is the anchor when the wind rises. That is the fire that lights the way. I do not need to seek approval when I already have acceptance. I do not need to earn worth when it was already spoken. I do not need to chase identity when I can rest in the one you freely give. I am not lost. I am found. I am not nameless. I am known. I am not forgotten. I am yours. And that changes everything. Father, as I sit with the truth of who I am in you, I feel something else rising in my heart, a vulnerability I can no longer hide, even from you. It is not just the pain or the uncertainty that weighs on me. It is the quiet recognition that I do not have to be strong all the time, that I do not need to carry everything alone. I have been so used to trying to hold it all together, pretending that my strength was enough. But now, I see maybe real strength is knowing when to stop pretending. You have shown me, Father, that strength is not always loud. It is not always visible. It does not always show up with confidence or certainty. Sometimes strength is the courage to admit when I am weak. Strength is the ability to ask for help when I need it. Even if I have spent so much time trying to prove I can do it on my own. Strength is not in my ability to keep pushing through, but in my willingness to lean into you when the weight becomes too much. There is a part of me, Father, that still resists, that still fights against the idea that weakness can be a place where your power shows up. It is a humbling thing to admit that I am not enough, that I cannot do it all, that I am too fragile in some areas. But when I allow myself to be vulnerable, when I stop trying to hide the cracks, I see your grace filling in the gaps. It is not about being perfect or invincible. It is about being real with you, about letting you move in the places where I have always been too afraid to surrender. I am learning that weakness is not a sign of failure. It is an invitation for you to come and meet me exactly where I am, to fill the spaces I cannot fill on my own. You do not expect me to have it all together. You do not demand perfection before you offer your strength. You see me in my struggles, in my flaws, in my brokenness, and still you say, "You are enough. You are mine." This morning, I lay down my need to appear strong. I lay down the walls I have built around my vulnerabilities, trying to protect myself from the fear of rejection or failure. I admit that I am weak, but not without hope. I am weak, but I am not hopeless. I am weak, but I am loved. And in my weakness, your strength is made perfect. In my weakness, you are still faithful. I ask you now, Father, to give me the strength to embrace my limitations. Help me to stop running from the things I cannot control. Teach me to lean into you instead of trying to carry everything on my own. Remind me that my weaknesses are not something to be ashamed of. They are the places where you show up most powerfully. I do not have to pretend I have it all together. I just have to trust that you are enough to hold me when I can hold myself. In the past, I believed that being weak meant I was not worthy of your love. I believed that if I could not handle everything, If I could not be perfect, then I would disappoint you. But now, I understand. I understand that it is not in my perfection that your love shines. It is in my imperfection. It is in my willingness to fall into your arms instead of trying to stand alone. You meet me in my weakness. You meet me in my brokenness. And that is where your strength is revealed most clearly. I am not meant to walk this journey on my own. I was never meant to be the one who carries the weight of the world on my shoulders. You are the one who carries it. You are the one who holds me steady when I falter. You are the one who strengthens me when I am weak. And in that, I find peace. I find rest. I find hope. Father, I pray that I will no longer be afraid of my weakness. I pray that I will no longer hide the parts of myself I think are unworthy of love. Show me the beauty in my brokenness. Show me how my vulnerability is an offering to you. Teach me to embrace the truth that I do not have to be strong all the time, that it is okay to fall, to fail, to need help. And when I do, remind me that you are always there to pick me up, always there to breathe strength into my weary heart. Let me see my weakness the way you do, as a place where your love can shine the brightest. When I am weak, you are strong. When I am broken, you are whole. When I am afraid, you are my courage. Let that be the anthem of my heart today. Father, let that be the truth I carry with me into the world. I am not defined by what I can or cannot do. I am defined by who you are. And you are more than enough. You are my strength when I am weak. You are my peace when I am restless. You are my hope when I have none. And that is all I need. So, Father, I choose to walk in this truth today. I choose to trust in your strength, not my own. I choose to surrender my weaknesses to you, knowing that in them, you will meet me with grace. I choose to let go of the fear that has kept me from being honest about my struggles. I choose to walk forward in the confidence that you are enough, even when I am not. I do not need to be strong for you. I need to be open to you. I need to let you in. I need to let you heal the places I have tried to hide. I need to let you love me in my weakest moments, because that is where you do your greatest work. Thank you, Father, for showing me that I do not have to be strong all the time. Thank you for meeting me in my weakness, for holding me when I fall, for breathing your strength into me when I can't go any further. Thank you for loving me not in spite of my flaws, but because of them, and for using my brokenness to display your glory. I will rest in that truth today. I will find peace in my weakness, because I know it is there that you are closest. I will walk in the strength you provide, knowing that it is more than enough. I will trust that your grace is sufficient, and that I am never alone in my struggles. You are my strength, Father, and that is all I need. Father, now that I have begun to release the weight of pretending and let your strength meet me in my weakness, I realize how persistent the enemy still is. He does not flee at the first sign of surrender. He lingers in the silence, waiting for the cracks. He watches for the pauses between my prayers, the moments when I start to wonder if I have truly been changed, if I have really heard you, if this closeness with you can last, It is in those quiet spaces, Father, that the whispers return, not yours, but His, the voice that mimics my own thoughts, wrapping discouragement in familiar tones. He does not come with obvious accusations. He comes with suggestions that sound like self-awareness, but are laced with deception. He questions what you have already affirmed. He casts shadows over what you have lit up with truth. He whispers things like, "You are still the same. This won't last. You will fail again." And I have believed those words before. Father, I have let them take root when I was tired, when I was vulnerable, when I was too wary to fight back. I have agreed with thoughts that came from fear, not faith. I have let my silence give them permission to stay. But now, I am learning. I am learning to recognize the voice that contradicts yours. I am learning that just because a thought passes through my mind does not mean it deserves a place in my heart. I am learning that the enemy's whispers grow louder when I forget to speak your truth aloud, and I refuse to be silent anymore. Today, Father, I name the whispers for what they are: lies meant to distract, to distort, to destroy. I refuse to let them go unchallenged. I will not sit quietly while the enemy tries to twist what you have made clear. I will not let fear masquerade as humility. I will not let guilt sound like responsibility. I will not let shame wear the mask of discernment. You have given me a voice for more than prayer. You have given me a voice to declare what is true, to silence what is false, to create an atmosphere where faith is louder than fear. So let my words carry weight today, not because they are perfect, but because they are in agreement with you. Let me speak life over what the enemy tries to label dead. Let me speak purpose where he tries to plant doubt. Let me speak courage where he hisses hesitation. I know now that not every battle looks like fire and storm. Some battles look like still mornings filled with small thoughts trying to gain big influence. But even in these subtle places, your spirit is present. Even when the whispers are quiet, your truth is louder when I choose to declare it. And I will declare it. I will not just think truth, I will speak it. I declare that I am not a prisoner of my past. I declare that I am not defined by what did not work out. I declare that my future is not built on fear, but on the foundation of your promises. I declare that what you have spoken over me still stands, even when the enemy tries to erase it. I declare that no weapon formed against me will prosper, and no voice raised to condemn me will succeed. Help me, Father, to stay alert. Help me to recognize when the whispers start. Help me to pause and question the thoughts that leave me feeling small, disqualified, or unseen. Let discernment rise in me like a shield. Let your word be the standard I hold every thought against. If it does not sound like you, if it does not reflect your heart, your mercy, or your truth, let me cast it down before it settles into my spirit. I do not want to live at the mercy of whispers anymore. I do not want to be pulled off course by every lie that sounds close enough to truth to go undetected. I want to live with clarity. I want to live with spiritual awareness. I want to stay anchored in your voice so deeply that the enemy's voice becomes background noise. weak and weightless against the reality of your presence. Let this be the day I stop giving the enemy space in my thoughts. Let this be the day I close every door he has used to step in unnoticed. Let this be the day I raise my voice not in anger, not in fear, but in authority, not my authority, but yours, the authority you have placed in me, because I belong to you. When the enemy says I am alone, I will declare that you are with me. When he says I am weak, I will declare that your strength is my covering. When he says I have gone too far, I will declare that your mercy reaches farther. When he says nothing will change, I will declare that you are the God who makes all things new. I will speak what you have already spoken. I will align my words with your heart. Father, help me to remember that silence is agreement. That when I do not speak back, I allow the wrong voices to shape my day. Let me fill my mornings not just with thoughts of you, but with declarations that welcome you. Let my faith be vocal. Let my hope be loud. Let my spirit respond to darkness with light. Not passivity. I will not whisper back to the enemy. I will roar with truth, even if my voice is soft, because truth never needs volume to carry power. Teach me to interrupt the spiral before it begins, to bring every anxious thought into the light before it takes root, to speak your promises when fear tries to wrap around my heart. I want to live like someone who knows the authority I carry, not to control others, but to guard my peace, to protect the sacred space where you and I meet each morning. Even now, Father, I can feel your voice pushing back the shadows. I can feel clarity returning where confusion tried to reign. I can feel strength rising where doubt once sat heavily. This is not just a feeling. It is a shift. It is the result of truth taking its rightful place again, and I will keep giving it room. Let me remember today that the enemy's power is limited. His reach is restricted. His voice only has influence where I allow it. But you, Father, are limitless. You do not whisper to manipulate. You speak to restore. You do not confuse. You bring peace. You do not accuse. You affirm. So I choose again, right now, to believe you, to silence the voice of fear with faith, to drown out the whisper of the enemy with the truth of my identity, to replace every echo of shame with songs of freedom. I choose to keep my mind set on things above. I choose to speak what is lovely, what is pure, what is true. Let this be a day where truth rises first, where your word takes the lead, where every whisper that does not come from you is shut down before it can find a home. Let this be a day where my soul is guarded not by walls, but by wisdom, where my heart beats in rhythm with heaven, and my mind is no longer a battlefield, but a sanctuary where your voice reigns. Father, now that I have begun to silence the whispers that never belonged in my spirit, I find myself longing for something deeper, not just freedom from the enemy's voice, but a life that reflects yours, a life that does not just resist darkness but radiates light. I do not want to simply battle lies. I want to live in a way that reveals truth with every breath, and to do that, I know I must be aligned with heaven. Alignment. Father, it is more than agreement. It is posture. It is direction. It is the way I walk, speak, think, and love, all flowing from a place that mirrors your heart. And I confess that too often, I have drifted into alignment with things that looked good on the surface, but led me away from peace. I have agreed with culture when it was convenient. I have adjusted my convictions to avoid discomfort. I have made decisions based on pressure instead of prayer. But I want to change that. I want to live in sync with you. I want my pace to match your rhythm, my desires to match your will, my responses to reflect your character. I do not want to call myself yours and live in conflict with what you value. I want integrity, not the kind that impresses others, but the kind that brings you joy, the kind that starts in hidden places and works its way outward, quietly but powerfully. Teach me how to align my heart with yours, not just in grand gestures or dramatic prayers, but in the small choices that shape my days, in the way I speak about myself and others, in the way I spend my time when no one is watching, in the thoughts I allow to linger and the dreams I dare to pursue. Let my inner life be a reflection of heaven's order, not the world's chaos. Help me recognize when I am out of alignment, when my motives are rooted in fear instead of faith, when my energy is poured into pleasing people instead of pleasing you, when my confidence comes from achievements instead of identity. Let there be a holy discomfort in me whenever I start to drift. Not condemnation, but conviction. Not guilt, but clarity. A gentle nudge that brings me back to center, back to stillness, back to truth. Father, I want to carry peace that is not shaken by the noise around me, but I know that peace can only flow from alignment. When my soul is out of order, when my mind runs ahead of your spirit, when my heart is ruled by my own understanding. Anxiety grows, but when I surrender to your leading, even the storm around me cannot steal what you place within me. So teach me again how to live from the inside out. Let the roots go deep before the branches stretch wide. Let character matter more than comfort. Let obedience weigh more than outcomes. I want to build a life that lasts, not just one that looks good for a season. And I know that begins with alignment, with being so closely connected to you that your values shape my decisions before my feelings do. I am not asking to be perfect, Father. I am asking to be honest, to pause long enough to ask, is this from you, before I commit? To slow down enough to sense when something does not sit right, to stay grounded enough to know that just because something feels urgent does not mean it is aligned with you. Give me discernment that cuts through confusion. Give me wisdom that outlives impulse. Let my priorities reflect your priorities. Let the way I treat others reflect how you have treated me. Let the way I show up in quiet moments carry just as much weight as the way I perform in public. I do not want to chase what is popular and miss what is holy. I do not want to follow every trend and lose sight of timeless truth. I want to walk in step with heaven, even if it means walking against the flow of the world. And Father, when I feel tension between what you are calling me to and what others expect from me, help me to choose you. Give me the courage to disappoint people if it means staying true to the path you have set. Help me to value eternal impact more than temporary approval. Let your well done matter more than applause. Let heaven's affirmation be enough for me. Align my ambitions with your purpose. Align my dreams with your timing. Align my relationships with your standards. Align my thoughts with your truth. Align my actions with your grace. Every part of me, bring it into order. Not forced, not rigid, but surrendered. Not robotic obedience, but joyful willingness. I do not want alignment out of fear of punishment. I want it because I trust that your way leads to life. Even when alignment costs something, even when it asks me to wait longer. Forgive deeper. Give more freely. I know it is always worth it. Because anything built outside of you won't last. Anything rooted in compromise will eventually fall apart. But what is built on your word? What is birthed from obedience? What is aligned with truth? Those things endure. Those things carry weight in eternity. And I want to live with eternity in mind. Not as a distant hope, but as a daily compass. I want to make choices that echo beyond the moment. I want to walk in such alignment with you that even in the ordinary, heaven's fingerprints are visible. In how I love my neighbor, in how I speak to my children, in how I forgive offenses, in how I steward what you have given me. Let everything about my life say, this one walks with God. Even now, as I pray, I can feel the realignment beginning, the quiet rearranging of priorities, the gentle shifting of desires, the loosening of things I have clung to out of habit or fear. You are recentering me not harshly, but faithfully. You are reminding me that peace is not found in controlling outcomes, but in surrendering to truth. You are showing me that the most powerful life I can live is one that moves in sync with you. So let today be a day of alignment. Let my yes be full, not hesitant. Let my no be clear, not conflicted. Let my steps be steady, not reactive. Let my heart be focused, not fragmented. I may not know where every path leads, but I know who leads me, and that is enough. Your spirit is my compass. Your word is my foundation. Your heart is my home. Keep me aligned. Father, keep me close. Let the pulse of heaven shape the beat of my life. Let every thought, every choice, every action reflect the truth that I am not my own, I am yours. I walk not for performance, not for praise, but from a place of alignment that brings rest to my soul and glory to your name. Father, now that I have begun to walk in alignment with heaven, I feel something awakening inside of me that I had forgotten was mine, a voice. Not just the ability to speak, but the authority to declare. Not just words formed in my mouth, but truth rising from deep within my spirit. Because what good is alignment if I remain silent? What power is there in belief if I keep it locked behind my ribs? You have called me not only to listen, but to respond. And this morning, I choose to respond with faith that speaks. You have taught me that silence can be reverent, but it can also be dangerous when fear creeps in and I say nothing. It grows when doubt settles and I remain quiet. It roots itself. But when I speak faith, when I say what you have said, something changes. The atmosphere shifts, my heart steadies, my spirit rises, not because my voice is powerful on its own, but because it echoes what you have already declared. My words become agreement, and agreement unlocks blessing. So teach me how to speak, Father, not just what is easy or safe or polite. Teach me how to speak what is true even when it challenges what I feel. Teach me to declare hope even in the face of disappointment. Teach me to release praise even when I feel pressure. Let faith rise in my mouth before it fully settles in my heart. Because sometimes faith needs a voice before it becomes a feeling. I have spent too many days letting silence have the final say. I have watched worry grow louder simply because I did not interrupt it. I have allowed heaviness to linger when a word of truth could have broken it, but no more. I am learning that I do not have to wait until I feel brave to speak boldly. I can speak in the trembling. I can speak in the middle. I can speak while waiting. Faith does not require full understanding, just full surrender. Let my words today be drenched in your presence. Let them carry life instead of fear. Let them lift instead of tear down. Let them agree with heaven, not with the weight of circumstance. And when I wake to voices that try to tell me I am still stuck, still small, still not enough, let my answer be clear and strong. I am who God says I am, and His word is final. Remind me, Father, that speaking faith is not about pretending. It is about planting. Every declaration is a seed. Every truth spoken is a root going deeper. Every I trust you that leaves my lips is a stake driven into solid ground. It is not about manipulating outcomes. It is about declaring allegiance, saying to every voice that competes for my attention, this heart belongs to God, and I will speak accordingly. Let me wake each morning with words that shape the day before the day shapes me. Let me set the tone with worship, with gratitude, with declarations rooted in your word. I do not need to prophesy the future. I just need to agree with what you have already promised, that you are with me, that you are for me, that nothing formed against me will stand, that I am loved beyond measure, that I am equipped for what comes, that I am not forgotten or forsaken or outside the reach of your favor. Let those words live on my tongue, not just in morning prayer, but throughout my day. In traffic, at work, in moments of stress or loneliness or confusion, let faith interrupt fear, not just in my thoughts, but in my speech. Let me speak joy even when sorrow tries to settle. Let me say, peace is mine even when anxiety knocks. Let me declare, I am blessed even before the blessing becomes visible. Because blessing is not something I wait for, it is something I walk in. And when I feel small, when I feel unworthy to speak such bold things, remind me that it is not my authority I am standing, it is yours. I do not speak faith because I have all the answers. I speak faith because I know the one who does. I do not declare because I am trying to impress anyone. I declare because I refuse to stay silent in the face of opposition. I will not let fear speak louder than faith. I will not let doubt write my narrative. I will not let the world have the final word, what you have already settled. Let the language of my life be worship and truth. Let every word I speak draw me closer to the path you have laid out. Let my mouth become a well of blessing, not just for myself, but for others. Let me speak encouragement where there is despair. Let me speak healing where there is hurt. Let me speak life where something is dying. Let me be aware of the weight of my words, not with fear, but with reverence. Words create, and I want mine to build what lasts. And when I grow tired, when my voice falters, when I do not know what to say, give me one phrase to hold on to. God is with me. Let that be my anthem. Let that be the truth I return to when the world feels overwhelming. Because if you are with me, then I have every reason to speak faith. If you are near, then no lie has permission to linger. If you are present, then no fear has the power to silence the voice you gave me. I do not want to just think truth. I want to live it. And I know that begins with what I say. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. So fill my heart with truth, so that truth is what spills out. Let every sentence be a reflection of what you are doing in me. Let my tone match the hope I carry. Let my voice become a tool for peace, a weapon against fear, a bridge between heaven and earth. Even now, Father, as I speak these words, I feel strength rising, not because I have fixed everything, not because the path is suddenly clear, but because I have spoken what is real, what is eternal, what is grounded in you, and I will keep speaking. I will keep declaring. I will keep choosing words that align with faith. I will keep using my voice to push back the dark and call forward the light. This is not a performance. This is not a ritual. This is my lifeline. This is my alignment in action. This is faith with breath and body. This is the sound of trust, rising with the morning, standing firm in the day, and carrying through the night. This is the voice of a child who knows her father is near and speaks like someone who belongs. I speak not to be heard, but because I am already known. And that changes everything. Father, now that I have found the courage to speak what is true, now that I have lifted my voice in faith and declared what you have placed within me, a quieter question begins to surface. It is not loud. It does not demand attention, but it lingers in the background of my spirit, gently asking, was I heard? There is a tenderness in this place, Father, a vulnerability that comes after I have said all I know to say, after the bold declarations, after the truth spoken in faith, after the prayers whispered through trembling lips. I know what it is to speak into the silence and wait, to pour out my heart and wonder if anything shifted beyond what I can see, to leave the altar with hope, but also with questions. So here I am again, not to repeat myself, not to doubt you, but to rest in the truth. I need you to remind me of heaven heard me, not just the words I spoke aloud, but the groanings I could not find language for, not just the prayers that were structured and strong, but the broken ones that came out as sighs, not just the declarations of faith, but the questions wrapped in faith as shadow. You heard it all. I do not always feel the response right away. Sometimes there is no sign, no movement, no confirmation that anything changed. But today I am learning, slowly and deeply, that silence on earth does not mean silence in heaven. That your hearing is not dependent on my perception. that just because I do not see immediate evidence does not mean my voice was not received. You are not deaf to the cries of your children. You are not distant. You do not need volume or clarity or perfection. You respond to sincerity, to the honest heart, to the soul that reaches for you, even when it does so with shaking hands. So I bring you the silence that follows my speaking. I bring you the waiting. I bring you the wondering. And I place it all in the hands that have never failed to hold what matters to me. I imagine you, Father, not as distant or indifferent, but leaning in close, hearing every word I have spoken, yes, but also every tear that has fallen unspoken, hearing the pauses between sentences, the tension behind each phrase. I imagine you, not judging the way I pray, but rejoicing that I have come at all, that I have chosen to trust, to speak, to stay present in this sacred conversation. And now I ask you for one thing, not proof, but peace, not signs, but assurance, not answers, but awareness. Let me know, even if only through stillness, that you are listening. Let my heart become more sensitive to the sound of your nearness than to the lack of results. Let my faith grow not in visible change, but in invisible trust, because the longer I walk with you, the more I understand that some of the most powerful responses from heaven do not come with noise. They come with peace. You are not in a hurry. You are not rushed by my expectations. You are never late, though I have often felt left waiting. But the more I grow in faith, the more I see that waiting with you is not a punishment. It is an invitation to lean in closer, to trust deeper, to rest longer, to be held more completely. And even now, even without the outcomes I long for, I choose to believe that heaven heard me. Let this belief shape my posture today. Let it guide the way I think and move. If I truly believe that you heard me, then I can walk in peace. I can breathe without anxiety. I can face uncertainty with a steady heart. I do not have to keep repeating the same prayer, hoping you will notice. I do not have to plead to be seen. I am already known. I am already held. And my voice has already reached your heart. I remember now, Father, that when your Son prayed, you heard him, and in him I have the same access, the same nearness, the same confidence that when I speak in his name, you receive every word, not because I am worthy, but because he made a way. And if you did not turn away from him, you will not turn away from me. My prayers are not lost. My voice is not weak. I am not forgotten in the crowd of need. I am heard. I am remembered. I am known. Even the things I whispered under my breath this morning, when no one else was around, you heard those. Even the things I did not have the strength to say out loud, you saw those thoughts pass through my heart. Even the prayers I buried in the pages of my journal, or the ones I typed and deleted before I hit send, you caught them. You collected them. You carried them into eternity and counted them worthy of your attention. So now I quiet my mind, not because I have given up, but because I have let go. I release the urge to control the outcome. I release the need to hear an immediate reply. I settle into the reality that my words do not disappear, they land in your presence. And in your presence, nothing is wasted, nothing is overlooked, nothing is too small, nothing is too late. Let that become my foundation today. Let the knowledge that heaven heard me be my strength. Let it anchor me when doubts try to creep in again. Let it remind me that I do not have to force what you have already received. Let me live from a place of assurance, not striving, from trust, not tension, from confidence, not confusion. If heaven heard me, then I can walk with boldness. I can serve without fear. I can rest without guilt. I can love without needing to be validated in return. If heaven heard me, then I can worship even in the waiting. I can rejoice even when nothing has visibly shifted. I can live with hope, not because I see the full picture, but because I know the one who holds it. You are not like people who forget what they hear. You do not dismiss my voice when something louder comes along. You do not move on when I feel silent. You remember. You respond. You act with wisdom and love and perfect timing. And even now, when the waiting feels longer than I would hoped, I believe you are moving behind the scenes. I believe things are shifting, even if I cannot yet name them. I believe you are faithful to what you have heard. So I will carry this truth with me today. Heaven heard me. And because you heard me, I will not carry the burden alone. I will not second guess what I already gave to you. I will walk like someone who has been heard. I will speak like someone who knows her prayers were caught by the hands of a Father who cares. And I will continue to show up, continue to speak, continue to believe not to be heard again, but because I already was. Dear Heavenly Father, there are moments when the silence from heaven feels louder than any storm. And yet, even in the quiet, I speak to you. I return to you with the same urgency, with the same need, as I did when the waters of fear were rising. From the calm breath of chapter 11, where I found myself resting in your peace, I now bring my whole heart into this stillness, unsure if I will hear anything back, but refusing to stop trusting. Because in the stillness, you are still God. In the silence, you are still speaking, even if not with words. Father, help me to trust when I cannot trace you. Help me to believe that silence does not mean absence. Teach me, even now, that sometimes the greatest miracles grow under the soil, invisible to the eye, but breaking open in time with your purpose. It is hard, Lord. I confess that it is hard when I pray and nothing changes on the surface. It is hard when I ask and the doors remain shut. But still, here I am. I have not given up. I am still knocking. I am still asking. I am still seeking, not because I am strong, but because something inside me keeps whispering that you are still listening. I recall, Father, how the earth was silent before the stone rolled away, how the night passed before the morning broke through, how even the cross came before resurrection. I hold on to those sacred patterns. You are the same God. You have not changed. You work in the silence just as you work in the song. I lift my hands today not in understanding, but in surrender. I give you what I do not know. I give you what I do not feel. I give you what I cannot see. I give you what I still believe, because my belief is not built on noise, but on who you are. My heart wants to panic sometimes. Father, when days go by without a sign, when nights stretch long without comfort, but I remember that even a seed grows in darkness before it reaches the sun. So I choose to believe that something is growing in this quiet. Maybe it is faith. Maybe it is endurance. Maybe it is a deeper kind of intimacy with you. Whatever it is, I won't waste this silence. I want to rush it. I want to fill it with noise to soothe my doubt. I will let it press on me until it presses prayer out of me. Sometimes I find myself looking to others, wondering why they seem to hear you so clearly, while I am still waiting. But you never asked me to compare stories. You only asked me to follow, so I follow you. Father, even here, even now, I will follow you in the pause. I will follow you when my questions outnumber my answers. I will follow you when I have no clarity except the knowing that you love me. That alone is enough to keep my soul steady. The silence is not punishment. The delay is not denial. The stillness is not abandonment. I speak these truths over my mind, over my fear, over every lie that tries to convince me that you have forgotten. You have not. You are closer than the air I breathe. And though you are invisible, you are not distant. Though I may not feel you, I am not forsaken. This quiet is not empty. It is full of you. Help me sense that. Father, help me see the unseen. Help me walk by faith and not by what I feel. Because what I feel is fragile. But what I believe in you is eternal. I remember, too, that Jesus himself experienced silence. On the cross, he cried out, "Why have you forsaken me?" And yet you never left him. That cry became the echo of every soul who has ever wondered where you are. And still, you proved faithful. Resurrection came. Hope broke through. Love won. So if Jesus had to walk through the silence and still trust, then so can I. He is my example. He is my hope, and in him, I place my trust when my own strength fades. Father, give me the courage to worship when I do not feel like it, to sing when my throat is dry with disappointment, to lift my eyes when the valley stretches long before me, to trust that even this place is sacred ground, because you are here, not just in the breakthroughs, not just in the healings, but in the in-between, in the long waits, in the unanswered cries. You are here, and that is enough. Even now, I whisper again the simple prayer I have carried in my chest since this morning began, not with fireworks or trumpets, but with a trembling voice that still dares to believe you are good, you are working, you are near. These three truths become my rhythm in the silence, like a heartbeat of faith, like a breath in the dark, like a candle that won't go out no matter how long the night lingers. So I will stay here. Father, I won't walk away just because I can't hear thunder or see miracles fall like rain. You do not need to prove anything to me to deserve my trust. You already proved everything on that cross. You already opened heaven's door through love. You already spoke the loudest, "I love you," through sacrifice. What more do I need? Nothing. So I choose to trust. I choose to wait. I choose to lean in even when it is quiet. Because that is where you meet me, in the whisper, in the stillness, in the sacred hush between pain and promise. And when the time comes, Father, when you do speak again, when you open what was closed, when you move what seemed unmoved, I will be here. I will be ready. Because I never left, because I trusted you in the silence, because you were faithful in the quiet, and I remained. I remained with my eyes lifted, my heart surrendered, and my hands open, not just waiting for answers, but longing for more of you. Father, I come before you again with the same quiet longing that echoed through my spirit yesterday. The H has softened, but it has not disappeared. Instead, it has deepened into something sacred. Something more than sorrow, it has become surrender. And Father, as my soul continues to lean into the unseen, I realize that faith is not found in certainty, but in trusting you even in silence. I do not ask you to remove the shadows today. I ask only that you remind me you are with me in them. The shadows mean there is light somewhere, and that light is you. Though I cannot always see where I am going, I believe you are ahead of me, guiding gently with each breath. The more I yield, the more I sense you, not in loud signs or dramatic moments, but in the subtle pull toward hope when despair lingers at the edge. Sometimes I find myself trying to rush the process, Father, hoping for breakthrough while skipping the lesson hidden in the waiting. But you are not slow. You are deliberate. You are carving purpose into the very marrow of my days, even those that feel empty. Teach me not to measure life by moments of clarity, but by moments of trust. Even when my path disappears underfoot, let me be unafraid to admit my fears, but more so, let me be bold in believing that you are bigger than them. When the voices around me grow loud, when the noise of doubt screams louder than truth, let your stillness meet me like a refuge. Wrap my fragile thoughts in peace, so I can remember who I am, not in the eyes of this world, but in your heart. If today brings challenges, let me not flinch. If it brings joy, let me not become careless. Keep me steady in either direction, for both are gifts that shape me. Strengthen my hands to do good. Open my heart to love without caution. Soften my reactions, guide my thoughts, cleanse my motives, and above all, help me walk with humility. Let nothing today make forget that I am yours. Father, I used to think being blessed meant an easy life, but I see now that to be blessed is to be carried by you through every season, even the ones that strip me of comfort. To be blessed is to walk in peace that makes no sense, to have joy that does not depend on outcomes, to rest in grace when answers do not come. That is the kind of blessing I want to recognize in each breath. In conversations, make me slow to speak and quick to listen. Let my words be rooted in kindness, not ego. Let my presence be calming, not controlling. Teach me to lift others without diminishing myself. Let my encouragement cost me something: my time, my attention, my comfort, because real love always costs something. And you have already shown me how to give. And when I falter, when I lose my temper, when I speak from impatience instead of compassion, Bring me back without shame. You do not expect perfection, but you do invite growth. Thank you for not measuring me by my worst moments. Thank you for seeing who I can become and calling me gently toward that vision. This morning, I do not ask for escape. I ask for endurance. I do not ask for easy roads. I ask for strong legs. I do not ask for applause. I ask for truth to remain in me, even when no one is watching. Because at the end of the day, what I long for most is to have lived it in a way that honored you, even in the unseen spaces. If I become weary, whisper strength into my soul. If I grow distracted, draw my eyes back to your goodness. If I am tempted to compare, remind me that what you have placed in me is enough. And if I feel forgotten, let the weight of your love remind me that I never am. You have walked with me through every failure and every victory. You are not impressed by what impresses others. You are moved by the honesty of my heart. So I give you this heart again, as trembling as it may be, not because I am strong, but because I believe you are. And as the world begins to stir, as light spills over rooftops and the air carries the scent of another beginning, I want to start from the inside with gratitude, with surrender, with expectation that you will meet me, not because of what I have done, but because of who you are. You are the calm in my storm, the anchor in my drift, the whisper in my confusion. And today, Father, I choose to believe again. I choose to rise even when my hope feels small. I choose to speak blessings when my thoughts feel tangled. I choose to walk forward even if it is only one small step. I choose to hold on to you. Let this choosing be my act of worship. Let it be enough. Let it remind me that miracles are not always loud. Sometimes, they are simply the quiet strength to keep going when giving up feels easier. And today, I receive that strength not manufactured, not borrowed, but gifted from you, the giver of all good things. Let your love rise before me like the morning sun, settle within me like the quiet dusk. Let this day not just be another page, but a holy chapter. Let my life become a living prayer, not because of perfect words, but because of a surrendered heart. And may everything that tries to pull me away from peace find no room to stay, because you have filled me with something greater. Father, as I open my eyes to a new morning, I bring with me the quiet echo of yesterday's revelations, the reflections from the stillness that followed, the gratitude that settled like dew on my spirit, and the soft tug of your presence that lingered even in the pauses of my breath. All of it draws me gently in today. I feel the rhythm of your grace continuing, not as a new song, but as an unbroken melody carrying forward the truth that every moment, however small, is held in your sovereign hands. So I begin this day with a plea that arises not from fear, but from longing. Teach me, Father, how to respond to life with clarity, in a world that constantly pulls at my attention, whispering urgent voices that compete for my loyalty. Help me lean into discernment. Let not my choices be reactive but reflective, not driven by pressure but shaped by peace. Show me how to slow my racing thoughts until they settle into alignment with your wisdom. Father, awaken my inner ear to your subtle directions. So many of your nudges come not with lightning and thunder, but with the hush of conviction, the uneasy pause, the unexplainable peace that follows the right decision. Give me the humility to ask, the courage to wait, and the faith to follow even when the road ahead is covered in fog. When my own desires try to justify impulsive steps, pull me back with the gentleness of your hand and remind me of the beauty in stillness. Let this morning not only be a moment of renewal, but a resetting of my compass. Redirect me if I have veered off course. Speak into the assumptions I carry and examine the motives I often leave unchecked. If pride has tinted my plans or fear has driven me into hiding, bring me to the truth with grace. Let me be bold not for attention, but because I have been inwardly anchored by your Spirit. Father, help me to walk today in a way that reflects deep intentionality. Let my words carry thoughtfulness, my actions reveal kindness, and my silences communicate presence. May I not simply react to the noise around me, but become a steady voice of calm, because I have rooted myself in you. Teach me not to be hurried by the chaos, but to carry a rhythm that reflects your order. In the conversations I will hold, may I listen with more interest than I speak. Help me notice what lies beneath people, as words, the fears they are covering, the hopes they are holding, the weariness they do not name. When I am tempted to speak for the sake of being heard, remind me that wisdom is often in restraint. When I do speak, let my words be seasoned with compassion and truth, reflecting your heart more than my own emotions. Even in the mundane moments of this day, whether washing dishes, answering emails, or walking down familiar hallways, let me be present. Let me find sacredness in the ordinary and meaning in what I usually overlook. Stir my spirit to find you in the quiet spaces, to seek your fingerprints in every detail, and to remember that you are never absent, only sometimes unrecognized. Father, as I move through the patterns of this day, let my spirit remain in quiet awareness of your nearness. Let not the demands of responsibility pull me so far into doing that I forget the call to simply be with you, in you, for you. Remind me that it is not my productivity that defines my worth, but the posture of my heart. Let my soul remain uncluttered, so there is room for your voice to echo without interference. Where I face tension today, perhaps in relationships, in responsibilities, or in internal battles, meet me there with clarity. Help me not to escape discomfort too quickly, but to search it for the truth you might be revealing. If you are growing something in me through trial, give me the eyes to see that growth and the perseverance to remain through it. Remind me that not every fire is meant to destroy. Some are refining. Teach me to carry integrity not just in public, but especially in private. Let my thoughts reflect your values, even when no one is watching. Let my decisions be consistent whether or not they are applauded. Let my character be formed in the quiet places, so that when I stand in louder ones, I do not lose myself. Root me deeply in your truth, so I won't be swayed by the shifting standards of the world around me. Father, grant me the grace to love without condition and to forgive without delay. If resentment clings to any corner of my soul, shine your light there. Uproot it. Let me release what I cannot carry and exchange bitterness for your peace. Let me not judge others by their worst moments, but see them as fellow travelers, sometimes limping, sometimes lost yet always loved by you. Today, give me eyes to see what really matters. Help me not be captivated by fleeting things or discouraged by temporary setbacks. Ground me in the eternal, remind me of what lasts, and draw my gaze higher, where I am tempted to measure success by outcomes. Teach me to value obedience instead, where I chase after control. Remind me that surrender is the greater strength. Let joy surprise me in small ways, a smile I did not expect, a moment of shared laughter, the warmth of sunlight through the window. Make me mindful enough to recognize these gifts and grateful enough to cherish them. Dante, let beauty pass me by unnoticed. Let gratitude become a habit, not just a reaction, and let contentment be the tone that underlies my whole day. And finally, Father, help me to rest tonight not based on how much I accomplished, but how much I remained connected to you. Whether today is filled with success or stumbles, let me end it knowing I did not walk alone. Carry me with your mercy from one moment to the next, until the last light fades and peace settles once more over my soul like the hush of evening. Father, in the quiet unfolding of this new morning, I return to you once again, still breathing in the echoes of the gratitude lifted to you just moments before. My heart carries the warmth of yesterday's mercies, and now it leans gently forward into today. Trusting that what you have begun you will sustain. I come not asking for ease, but for the endurance to keep walking, especially when the way forward feels unclear or heavy. Father, you see the steps I have not yet taken and the weight I have not yet carried. You see the subtle wariness behind my steady smile and the unspoken prayers behind each breath. And in that knowing, you meet me here. I do not need fireworks to feel your presence. I sense you in the whisper of peace that rises when the world is still sleeping. I sense you in the calm between thoughts, in the spaces between obligations. There is a quiet miracle in being known without explanation, in being loved without performance. I do not have to strive for your approval today. I already have it, and so I breathe in slowly, letting that truth become the rhythm of my being. Let it pulse through me when I face people who do not understand me, or moments that test my patience. Let your grace remind me that I am not alone in this journey. There are things I hoped would be resolved by now, battles I thought I would have already won, but some victories are not loud or final. Some healing happens in layers, in return visits to the same pain, in repeated surrender. And you, Father, are not disappointed with my pace. You are present in my process, walking beside me, not measuring me. Teach me how to celebrate the unseen progress, the thoughts I did not speak in anger, the smile I offered in fatigue, the silence I chose when I could have complained. These are holy things, even if no one else applauds them. These small choices shape me more deeply than I know. Let me not miss the sacredness of the ordinary today. A sip of warm tea, the sound of my child's laughter, conversation that feels unexpectedly safe. These are not distractions from a spiritual life. They are the spiritual life. You are not only in the heights of worship or the depths of struggle, you are in the laundry piles. The commutes, the grocery lists, the moments when I pause and breathe and remember I am held. Give me eyes to see you in these places. Let the mundane become holy by the way I choose to see it. Let me live slow enough to notice, still enough to respond. And Father, when I feel like I am not enough for this day, when doubts echo in the corners of my mind, help me remember you never asked me to be enough. You simply ask me to let you be enough in me. That takes trust. That takes letting go. And though letting go is hard, it is also how I receive. So I open my hands of my time, my energy, my control. I do not know how everything will work out, but I trust you are already working things together. Even the pieces that do not make sense right now. You are not asking for my perfection, just my permission for you to move freely in my surrender. Some days, the heaviness does not come from catastrophe, but from accumulation, the buildup of tiny disappointments. Stretched energy, persistent thoughts I can't quite silence. It is easy to dismiss them because they seem small, but even small stones in a shoe can make the journey painful. Father, help me bring even those to you. Remind me that nothing is too trivial for your attention. If it matters to me, it matters to you. Let me not ignore my own heart in the name of strength. Let me be honest with you about what hurts. Even when I do not have the words to describe it, you understand sighs, you translate tears. Father, as I step into this day, help me to carry both courage and kindness. Let my strength be gentle and my gentleness be strong. In a world quick to react, help me be slow to judge, quick to listen, ready to extend grace, not because people always deserve it, but because you gave it to me when I least deserved it. That is how transformation begins, not by demanding change from others, but by embodying the change I long to see. Let my responses reflect your patience. Let my words reflect your mercy. Let my presence bring rest to others who feel weary too. And when I feel unseen, remind me that you see. When my efforts go unnoticed, my kindness unreciprocated, let me hear your voice whispering, I saw that. That is enough. You notice what the world misses. You reward what is done in secret. Help me rest in the assurance that I do not need to prove my worth to anyone. I am already deeply loved, already fully accepted. From that security, I can give without fear, speak without striving, serve without resentment. My value is not in what I do, but in whose I am, and I belong to you. Let today not be about accomplishment, but alignment. Let me align with truth, with peace, with love. Let me step away from pressure and into presence. Let me turn down the volume of noise and tune in to the frequency of grace. That frequency is always available, but I often forget to listen. So throughout this day, send little reminders, a gentle breeze, a familiar melody, the sudden urge to be still. Let each one pull me back to you. Let each one recalibrate my spirit toward trust, toward hope, toward the quiet joy of simply being alive and being yours. I do not know what this day will require, but I know you will supply it. I do not know what burdens I might carry, but I know you will carry them with me. I do not know what questions I will wrestle with, but I know you will sit in the tension with me until clarity comes, or until I learn to live with mystery. That is faith too, is not it? Not always needing answers, but always seeking you. Not always feeling peace, but always returning to its source. Let this day be less about fixing and more about flowing. Less about controlling and more about connecting. Less about doing and more about dwelling with you. In you, because of you. This is how I want to live today. Not rushed, but rooted. Not scattered, but centered. Not striving, but surrendered. And as I move through the hours ahead, let the echo of this prayer stay with me. Let it rise in my chest when anxiety flares. Let it ground me when I forget who I am. Let it be the song behind my silence, the fire behind my courage, the stillness behind my steps. In every moment that comes, I will return to this place, the place where I remember you are here, and that is enough. Father, in this sacred hush before the world fully stirs, I come again to rest in your presence. The quiet rhythm of my breath reminds me that you are near, that your spirit still hovers over the deep places of my heart, shaping order from what still feels uncertain. And as I sit with the echoes of all that has come before, I feel the gentle pull of continuity, as if every word uttered in trust yesterday has led me to this threshold today. There is a tenderness in your leading that invites me, not with force, but with love so steady it silences the noise around me. You know the landscape of my day before I walk it. You see the turns I cannot predict and the valleys I may resist. But even in what I do not understand, your hand remains upon me. So I rise this morning with an open spirit, asking not for a map, but for the faith to follow you step by step. Let me not run ahead in anxiety or drag behind in hesitation. Let my pace be your pace. Let my silence be filled with your whispers. Let my strength be found in surrender, not striving. Sometimes I forget that surrender is not weakness. I confuse control with courage and find myself exhausted by a weight I was never meant to carry. But here in the stillness, I lay it down again. I release the pressure to perform, the need to have all the answers, the illusion that I must earn what you freely give. Your grace, once again, becomes my grounding. Your love becomes the lens through which I see myself and this world anew. And in that release, there is such peace, not passive resignation, but a holy trust that you are already where I am going. If I am to lead today, let me lead with compassion, not ego. If I am to speak, let it be from a well that draws deeply from kindness, not opinion. If I am to pause, let it not be in fear, but in reverence for the timing that only you perfectly know. I do not need to prove my worth in every room I enter. I only need to carry your presence into that space, and that alone will be enough. My role is not to dominate, but to reflect, not to conquer, but to connect, not to impress, but to embody the quiet power of a life held in grace. Thank you for the moments that will not make sense until later. Thank you for the doors that remain closed, not out of punishment but out of protection. And thank you for the subtle nudges that pull me away from distraction and toward what is eternal. Today may hold small choices and unseen victories, but I trust that you are shaping something holy in the details. Even the mundane becomes sacred when it is surrendered to you. So let me treat each interaction as divine appointment, each task as an offering, and each interruption as an invitation to pause and be present. Father, guide my eyes toward what truly matters, not the noise of comparison or the clamor of achievement, but the quiet joy of doing the next right thing in love. Teach me to see with clarity, not with fear. Let discernment rise in me not as suspicion, but as wisdom formed in trust. May my heart remain soft in a world that often demands hardness. May I resist the urge to close off when it feels safer and instead stay open, even when it costs me comfort. Vulnerability is not a flaw, but a reflection of you and me. I ask for integrity in places where it would be easier to hide. I ask for honesty even when the truth is uncomfortable. I ask for humility when praise tempts pride. I ask for courage when silence seems easier. Let me not shrink in the face of discomfort, nor posture in the face of fear. Let me simply be a person grounded, present, and faithful. Not perfect, not polished, but willing to show up, to listen, to serve, to grow, willing to forgive again, willing to begin again, willing to say yes when it is hard and no when it matters. If I falter today, and I may remind me that returning to you is always just a breath away. I do not need to spiral into shame or flee into distraction. I only need to return to the breath, to the stillness, to you. You never move away from me. Even when I drift, your faithfulness does not flinch. And that is my anchor. That is my calm. So I begin this day not with grand resolutions, but with a simple, sacred resolve to remain close to your heart. Let me see beauty in places others overlook. Let me extend grace where it has not been earned. Let me notice the lonely, the weary, the forgotten. Let me speak light into rooms thick with shadows. Let me be interruptible. Let me be generous. Let me be faithful in small things. Because I know that in your eyes, no offering is too small when given with love. No act is wasted when done in obedience. No moment is meaningless when lived in alignment with you. Even in quiet routines and unnoticed efforts, you are near. Even in tired prayers and restless moments, you are not far. And even in the unknowns that still stretch out before me, I can choose to walk without fear, because I do not walk alone. I never have. I never will. You are the voice behind me saying, "This is the way, walk in it." So I will walk not always confidently, but always held, not always boldly, but never abandoned. Father, keep me grounded today, not in my own plans, but in your presence. Keep me focused, not on outcomes, but on obedience. Keep me steady, not by removing storms, but by anchoring me in your peace. Keep me grateful, not because everything is easy, but because you are always enough. Let this day be marked not by my achievements, but by the fruit of a heart that stayed near to you. And as I step into whatever awaits, I carry this truth with me, that I am loved without condition, guided without confusion, and held without hesitation. Let that be the melody that underlines my day, the truth that steadies my heart, and the quiet anthem that reminds me again and again why I choose to trust. Father, as the morning breaks once more and the stillness of this sacred hour wraps gently around me, I come again into your presence with a heart open and expectant. The serenity of the previous reflection lingers in my spirit, reminding me that I am not alone, that your voice continues to whisper through the rhythm of my breath. You are the still point in every turning world, the anchor of peace in the midst of unfolding uncertainties. And from the trust I placed in your leading yesterday, I now move into deeper surrender, where even the unspoken questions become holy ground. There is something about the quiet that both comforts and challenges me. It strips away the noise I often rely on, the distractions I unknowingly cling to, and gently places me in front of myself. In the silence, there is nothing to prove, no performance to offer, only truth. And in that rawness, you meet me not with judgment, but with compassion that disarms. You do not rush me through the process. You do not demand resolution before you offer rest. Instead, you simply sit with me in the unknown, showing me that you are just as present in the pause as you are in the breakthrough. Sometimes the waiting feels like wilderness, the not yet seasons where answers feel distant and direction unclear. But even here, you are near. You are not hurried, and you invite me to slow down too, to find contentment not in clarity, but in communion, to discover that the questions themselves are a place of intimacy with you. I do not have to rush toward solutions to be secure. I only need to lean in and listen. Your silence is not absence. It is invitation. It is depth. It is you teaching me to breathe without panic, to walk without sight, and to hope without conditions. Father, help me to release the need to always understand. Let me lay down the temptation to fix, control, or manipulate outcomes. I want to learn how to trust you without timelines, to worship without guarantees, to remain faithful even when the path curves beyond my view. Teach me how to hold peace in the midst of paradox, to choose joy in the space between promise and fulfillment. Let me become more anchored in who you are than in what you do. Because if I know your heart, then I can rest even when nothing around me makes sense. There is a gentleness to the way you lead. Father, you do not yank me forward, nor shame me for being unsure. You simply keep walking, and somehow your presence always draws me onward. I want to follow not because I am brave, but because I am loved, not because I am strong, but because I am held. That be my motivation today, not striving, not fear of missing out, not pressure to perform, but simple affection for you. Because in loving you, I become who I was always meant to be. Not rushed, not rigid, but rooted. I ask you today for the grace to embrace what is not what I thought should be, not what others expect of me, but what you have placed in front of me right now. Whether it feels mundane or messy, I choose to meet it with presence. I choose to bring gratitude into spaces that feel dry. I choose to show up where it would be easier to retreat. And I choose to believe that you are at work, even when I cannot see movement. Sometimes the soil is silent before it bears fruit. Sometimes the seed must be buried before it blossoms. Let me not mistake delay for denial or silence for disinterest. Let me remember that you are a gardener, patient and precise. Remind me that my value is not in my productivity, that I am not more worthy because I am busy, that sometimes the most powerful choice I can make is to be still. Let me honor my limitations today, not as weakness, but as sacred boundaries where grace can enter. I do not need to know everything, solve everything, or carry everything. I only need to trust that you are enough, and that you have not forgotten me in the quiet. Father, if today brings challenges I did not foresee, let my first response be to turn toward you, not away. If fear rises, let your peace meet it like a rising tide. If disappointment knocks, let it find a heart that is soft, not bitter. If fatigue whispers lies of failure, let truth rise up louder that I am chosen, cherished, and never disqualified by what I cannot control. Let me remember that surrender is not a moment, but a posture, one I returned over and over, not out of defeat, but out of love. Give me eyes today to see the hidden blessings, the smile I might have missed, the kindness that passes quietly, the sacredness of breath, of light, of simply being. Let wonder awaken in me again. Let me not pass through this day numbed by routine or dulled by distraction. Stir up a sensitivity to beauty and a deep gratitude for the now. Because even when the big things feel unresolved, the small gifts are your reminders that you are near and you are good. I open my hands once more. Father, to all I cannot predict, I release my grip on expectations. I silence the voice of perfectionism. I trade urgency for trust. Let this day not be measured by how much I achieve, but by how faithfully I abide. Let it not be remembered for outcomes, but for presence, for love given, for joy cultivated, for peace held in tension, and for trust that did not waver, even when the answers did not come. So as I move from this quiet place into the unfolding hours ahead, I do not demand clarity, only closeness. I do not seek certainty, only your nearness. I do not chase affirmation, only alignment. Keep me close, Father, not because I fear the unknown, but because I know you are already in it, waiting to walk with me every step of the way. Let that truth be my anchor, my compass, and my calm. Father, as this new morning unfolds and I take another breath in the quiet before the world rushes in, I lean once more into the warmth of your nearness. The journey from yesterday still echoes in my spirit, how trust in the silence taught me more than answers ever could. And now, from the place of surrender, you gently turn my gaze outward, because trust is never meant to stay still. It moves, it flows, it expresses itself in how I love. And so, today, Father, teach me to love not just in the places where it is easy, but especially where my heart still hesitates. There are parts of me, Father, that instinctively recoil from certain people, certain moments, certain tensions. Sometimes love feels inconvenient, uncomfortable, or undeserved. Sometimes I retreat behind the shield of self-preservation, claiming boundaries when I am really choosing fear. But you, who love perfectly and patiently, do not love from a distance. You entered our mess. You walked among the broken. You lingered in the margins. And I feel you now, calling me into that same posture, not to fix others, but to love them, to bring warmth where there has been cold, to offer presence where others have only known absence. Father, soften my resistance. Where pride makes me want to withdraw, give me humility to lean in. Where resentment builds invisible walls, help me see the cracks of shared humanity. Where judgment creeps, cloaked in false righteousness, remind me that I am no more deserving than anyone else. We are all beggars before grace, all in need of the same mercy. Let me be a vessel, not a gatekeeper. Let my hands be open, not clenched. Let my words build up, not tear down. Because if you dwell in every person I meet, then every interaction becomes sacred ground. Help me love those who do not love me back, not because I seek approval, but because love is who you are, and I want to reflect you. Help me show kindness when it costs me, patience when I am tired, and gentleness when I am misunderstood. These are not natural responses for me. Father, they stretch my heart and test my resolve. But perhaps that is the point. Love that comes easily does not shape me. Love that asks something of me is where transformation happens, and I do not want to stay the same. I want to grow in your image. I want to be changed by compassion when I encounter conflict today. Father, let my first instinct not be to defend, but to understand. Let me listen with more intent than I speak. Let me pause long enough to see what is beneath the surface in others. Pain, insecurity, fear, the things I often hide myself. Let me not be so quick to label or dismiss. Let me not reduce people to their sharp edges. We are all in process. We are all stories unfolding. Give me the grace to meet people where they are, not where I think they should be. Show me how to love without strings, without the quiet expectation of reciprocity, without the subtle demand to be seen or praised. Let my love be quiet sometimes, unseen but steady. Let it be consistent rather than dramatic, steady rather than flashy. Because true love does not need an audience. It does not draw attention to itself. It gives even when unnoticed. It blesses even when unacknowledged. It chooses faithfulness over fanfare. And that is the kind of love I want to embody. Father, love often feels like a risk. The risk of being hurt. The risk of being misunderstood. The risk of giving more than I receive. But you took that risk first. You poured out everything knowing many would walk away. You stayed vulnerable even when betrayal loomed. You never stopped giving, never stopped hoping. And I realize now that love will always feel risky if I am doing it honestly. Because to love is to be open. To love is to give something of myself. Let me not run from that vulnerability. Let me see it as sacred. Today, Father, bring to mind someone who needs compassion, someone who has been overlooked, dismissed, or labeled, someone I have avoided, someone I have misunderstood. Let me carry them in my heart, not as a project, but as a person created in your image. Let me be brave enough to reach out, even if my words are few, even if it is just a small gesture, a kind word, a gentle look, a willingness to sit beside instead of speaking over. Let me not underestimate the weight of quiet love, and when I find it hardest to love myself, Father, draw me back to your truth, that I am not defined by my failures, my fears, or my flaws, that your love for me is not fragile. It does not waver on my worst days or inflate on my best. It is steady, and because I am loved by you, I can learn to love myself in the same way, not with pride, but with acceptance, not with indulgence, but with grace. Let me treat my own heart with the same tenderness I would offer to someone I care about, because how I love myself often shapes how I love others. Father, remove in me the bitterness that masquerades as strength. Break the cynicism that pretends to be wisdom. Uproot the sarcasm that masks disappointment. These things may protect me from pain, but they also keep me from love. And love is the very reason I am here. Let nothing steal that purpose from me today. Let me love boldly, even if it means I cry sometimes, even if I get it wrong, even if I feel small. Because every act of love, no matter how simple, ripples into eternity. So in this new day, I ask not for easier paths, but for a deeper heart, not for more comfort, but for greater compassion, not for less conflict, but for more courage. Let love be my lens. Let it shape how I speak, how I work, how I drive, how I respond, how I rest. Let it reach into the quiet spaces where no one sees, into the moments where no one claps. Let it define my life more than ambition or image ever could. Because in the end, what matters most is not how much I achieved, but how well I loved. And I want to be found faithful in that. Father, as the morning stretches open like a page not yet written, I meet you once again with open hands and a tired heart. The journey of loving others, especially in the places I resist, has stirred something deep inside me. But love, when it is poured out day by day, needs a place to return to, a home within, a rhythm that lets me breathe. And so now, Father, I come not to ask for more to do, but to learn how to rest, truly rest, without shame, without guilt, and without the weight of productivity pressing on my shoulders. In this world that often defines value by output, I confess that rest can feel like failure if I am not producing, responding, achieving. I wonder if I am wasting time. I look around and see others moving faster, building more, and I feel the pressure to keep up. But you do not measure me by my pace. You do not rush me into burnout. You are not impressed by my exhaustion. You are the one who formed rest into creation itself, who paused after speaking life into existence, who set the sun to rise and fall, not endlessly blaze, who gave the Sabbath not as a rule, but as a gift. Father, help me receive rest as you intended. Let it be more than recovery. Let it be renewal. Let it be the sacred place where I remember I am more than my schedule. I am more than my accomplishments. I am not a machine. I am your child. And if you, the creator of all things, chose to pause, then who am I to think I must run endlessly? Quiet the voice inside me that says, I must always be available, always be useful, always be productive. That voice does not come from you. That voice is a thief of peace. Let me rest not just in body, but in soul. Let me find space where I can stop performing. Stop explaining. Stop striving. Let me be unhurried enough to notice beauty again, the softness of morning light, the sound of leaves whispering, the quiet breath that rises and falls without instruction. Let me sit in stillness without needing to fill the silence. Let me listen for your whisper in the calm, because rest is not emptiness. It is the fullness of being present with you without needing to earn it. Teach me to say no when my soul is stretched thin, to honor limits not as weakness but as wisdom, to protect margin in my days not as laziness but as stewardship. You are not calling me to be everything for everyone. You are calling me to be faithful in what you have placed before me. And part of that faithfulness is learning when to stop, when to breathe, when to lay it down and simply be. There are days, Father, when I feel guilty for not doing more, when I rest, but my mind races with all that is left undone, when I try to pause, but rest feels like a reward I have not yet earned. Free me from that bondage. Remind me that I am loved not for what I do, but for who I am. That my worth was never built on my to-do list. That your love is not delayed until I finish the task. It is here, now, in this breath, in this quiet, in this stillness. Help me rest without scrolling, without numbing, without filling the pause with noise. Let me not confuse distraction with peace. Let me create sacred space where I can exhale deeply, where I can check in with my soul, where I can feel your presence without the need for performance. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is to stop, to cease from doing, and remember that you are God, and I am not. And when I do rise again to work, to serve, to give, let it come from overflow, not depletion. Let rest be the soil where my creativity is born, where joy is rekindled, where clarity returns. Let it be the rhythm that keeps my heart soft, my eyes clear, my spirit aligned with yours. Because without rest, love becomes obligation. Without rest, vision turns to weariness. Without rest, I lose sight of why I started. Teach me, Father, to rest without comparing, without looking sideways at what others are accomplishing while I pause. Let me trust that you are working even when I am not, that seeds planted in stillness grow just as surely as those planted in motion, that your timing is not delayed by my rest, it may even be sharpened through it. Because rest clears the noise and lets me hear again. Rest softens the striving and returns me to grace. Let my rest not be selfish, but sacred. Let it not be an escape, but a return to the truth that I am not the one holding everything together. You are. Let my rest become a quiet offering, a way of saying, I trust you to carry what I cannot, to complete what I cannot finish, to sustain what I cannot control. I release the pressure to be everywhere. Know everything, fix it all. I rest in your sufficiency. Father, Remind me that rest is not wasted time. It is worship. It is saying, I believe you are enough. I believe I do not have to prove anything today. I believe I am free to sit, to breathe, to be. Let that freedom sink deep into my bones until it shapes how I live. Let it push back against the lies that say I must earn my place. Let it rewire the patterns of hustle so that I walk with calm, speak with ease, and live with balance. And when I forget, because I will forget when I get caught up again in the noise and speed, gently call me back. Let fatigue become a signal, not a sentence. Let burnout never be a badge I wear proudly, but a boundary I learn to respect. Let me be someone who carries peace, not pressure. Someone who honors the slow, not just the fast. Someone who knows how to pause without panic. So today, as the world rushes and demands, I will carve out a moment to rest with you, even if it is small, even if it is brief, even if it is just one slow breath where I remember that I am held, and in that space, Father, I will not feel lazy. I will not feel guilty. I will feel loved. I will feel human. I will feel whole. Father, I carry this quiet stillness you have planted in me from yesterday's rest, like a fragile flame in the wind. And now, as I prepare to step again into the noise and movement of this world, I sense how deeply I need something more than strength. I need gentleness. I need the kind of tenderness that can walk into chaos without becoming part of it. The kind of spirit that speaks softly even when the world shouts. The kind of heart that chooses mercy over might. Because in a world that often rewards hardness, you have called me to something different. I do not want to lose the softness you have placed inside me. I do not want to let disappointment or weariness make me bitter. I do not want to let business make me short. I do not want to let pain make me cold. Father, show me how to remain gentle without being fragile, to be firm without being harsh, to carry conviction without cruelty. Let gentleness become the thread that weaves through my speech, my posture, my silence, my touch. There are moments when it feels easier to snap than to stay calm. When someone's impatience bumps into my own, when expectations clash with my capacity, when I am misunderstood, or dismissed, or treated unfairly, it is tempting in those moments to armor up, to push back, to protect myself with sharpness. But you, Father, you are gentle with me. Always, when I fail, you do not shame me. When I stumble, you do not strike me. When I forget, you do not abandon me. Your gentleness has been my shelter, not my weakness. So help me mirror that grace in the way I respond today. Let me pause before I speak. Let me breathe before I react. Let me look beneath people's anger and see their fear. Let me look beyond their pride and see their wounds. Let me not rush to win arguments or prove points, but to build bridges, even small ones. Let me not weaponize truth, but offer it with love. Let me not rush to correct every wrong, but listen deeply to what is not being said. Father, I confess how often I confuse gentleness with passivity, how often I think kindness must mean silence. But you are not passive. Your gentleness is not weak, it is fierce in its patience, brave in its forgiveness, persistent in its hope. Teach me that gentleness does not mean shrinking back from truth, but carrying it with care. Let me speak the hard things with a soft voice. Let me hold boundaries without building walls. There will be times today when my gentleness will be tested, when I will be tempted to defend myself with sarcasm or to deflect with blame, when my pride will want the last word, when my ego will want to win. But help me choose humility over ego. Help me choose peace over victory. Help me choose presence over performance. Because I would rather reflect you than be right. I would rather be kind than be praised. I would rather be known for gentleness than admired for brilliance. Let my gentleness be most visible with the people closest to me. It is easy to perform kindness for strangers. Harder, sometimes, to offer it at home. Help me not snap at those I love most. Help me not let stress leak out onto those who trust me. Help me bring softness to my tone, patience to my responses, tenderness to my corrections. Let me be a place of calm, not a source of tension, and with myself. Father, let me be gentle. Let me not beat myself up for every flaw. Let me not expect perfection from this fragile body and tender heart. Let me speak to myself with the same compassion I long to offer others. Let my inner dialogue be soaked in mercy. Let me celebrate progress, however small. Let me forgive quickly. Breathe deeply and trust that you are not in a rush with me. Even in the face of injustice or cruelty, remind me that gentleness is still powerful, that I can stand for what is right without becoming what oppose, that I can speak up without shouting down, that I can hold others accountable without holding on to hate. Teach me how to confront with grace, how to resist with wisdom, how to love fiercely without losing my softness. Because I want to be a light, not just a loud voice. Let my gentleness be felt by those who are hurting. Let my presence be a balm, not a burden. Let people leave my company feeling lighter, not heavier. Let children feel safe around me. Let the weary feel seen. Let the anxious feel peace in my stillness. Let my words not just be correct, but healing. Let my actions not just be productive, but kind. In moments of confrontation, let me not raise my voice just to be heard. Let me not dominate space just to feel secure. Let me trust that silence can be strong, that a kind word can disarm anger, that restraint can be mightier than retaliation. Let me trust that you fight for me, that I do not have to win every battle. Because you are my defender, you are my justice, you are my covering. When the world tells me to harden up, make me softer. When the world tells me to toughen my heart, make me tender. When the world tells me to speak louder, let me listen deeper. When the world tells me I am too emotional, remind me that you created emotion as a mirror of your compassion. I will not apologize for caring. I will not numb what you designed to feel. Father, if gentleness is the fruit of your spirit, then water it in me today. Let it grow in hidden ways in my responses to interruption, in the words I choose when I am tired, in the posture I take when nobody is watching. Let it shape my facial expressions, my gestures, my pauses, Let it spill into texts and emails, into waiting rooms and dinner tables. Let it be a quiet testimony that you live in me. And if the day leaves me weary, bruised, or misunderstood, let me return to you for restoration. Let me curl into your presence and find again that gentleness was never mine to maintain alone. It was always rooted in yours. Let my tired kindness return to its source and rise again renewed, not because of me, but because you are endlessly gentle, endlessly patient, endlessly good. So I walk into this day not with force, but with faith, not with bravado, but with bravery, not with hardness, but with holy tenderness, because I am yours, and you are gentle, and I want to reflect you well. Father, even as I sit quietly with you this morning, I feel how easily a spark of irritation can ignite within me. It takes so little a careless word, a delay, an unexpected shift to unsettle the peace I carry. And yet, I know this is not the way you have called me to walk. You are slow to anger, rich in compassion, full of mercy. You see the same world I do, and yet you are not easily provoked. You are patient beyond understanding, so teach me, Father, to carry that same slowness in my spirit. Let my reactions not be immediate but intentional. Let me have the courage to pause, the wisdom to breathe, the strength to remain silent when silence is wiser than words. I do not want anger to guide my voice or move my hands or cloud my judgment. I want to be led by gentleness, governed by grace, and protected by your wisdom, not provoked by the noise of the world or the failures of others. The temptation to lash out often comes without warning. Someone cuts me off in traffic, and irritation flares before I know it. Someone speaks with disrespect, and I feel the heat rising. An expectation goes unmet, and frustration knocks at the door of my heart. But Father, in those moments, remind me that I am not a slave to my impulses. I am not at the mercy of emotion. You have given me your spirit, and with it, the power to choose a better way. Remind me that anger is not always loud. Sometimes it festers in quiet judgment. Sometimes it hides in cold detachment. Sometimes it masks itself as indifference. But you, Father, do not overlook these subtle shadows in me. You gently expose them not to shame me, but to heal me. So uncover what I have buried. Show me the hidden places where resentment lingers. Reveal the corners of my heart that are still quick to accuse, slow to forgive. Teach me how to surrender even the anger I have grown used to carrying. I know there are things in this world that are worth being angry about. Injustice, cruelty, betrayal, lies. And you yourself are not indifferent to these things. Your anger is righteous, pure, always rooted in love and always tempered by truth. So help me distinguish between holy anger and wounded pride. Help me to channel righteous indignation into action, not destruction. Let me stand up for the oppressed without tearing others down. Let me speak truth without venom. Let me confront evil without becoming bitter. Father, I want to be known not for my sharpness, but for my serenity. I want people to feel safe in my presence, not on edge. I want my words to de-escalate, not provoke. I want my presence to be a calming influence in the storms of daily life. Let me be someone who brings peace into a room, not because I ignore what is wrong, but because I refuse to let wrongness infect my spirit. Let me be especially slow to anger with those I love. It is often those closest to me who trigger the deepest responses. When my spouse is short, or my child disobeys, or a friend disappoints me, let me not respond in the heat of the moment. Let me be quick to understand, slow to react. Let me remember that my tone lingers longer than my words, that my expression can leave a bruise or a blessing, that my patience is more powerful than my correction, with myself too. Father, help me release the anger I direct inward, the frustration I feel over my own shortcomings, the irritation at my repeated mistakes, the harshness in the way I speak to my own soul. Let me remember that you are not angry with me, that you are not standing over me with crossed arms and a stern frown. You are near, not with condemnation, but with kindness. You lift my chin. You speak gently. You restore, not reprimand. Let me treat myself the way you treat me. Sometimes, Father, the anger I feel is not about the moment in front of me, but the pain behind me. Old wounds, unspoken grief, the echoes of past hurt that still ripple through my present reactions. Help me see where my anger is really coming from. Help me name the hurt beneath it. Help me grieve it, not project it. Help me bring it into the light of your healing love, so that it loses its power to poison my relationships or sabotage my peace. Let forgiveness rise in me like a quiet tide, washing away the sediment of bitterness. Let me remember that to forgive does not mean to excuse, but to set free, that sometimes the person I free most is myself. Let me forgive even those who do not say sorry, even those who repeat their wrongs, not because they deserve it, but because you ask it, and because holding on to anger makes my soul heavy, and I long to walk light. Let my anger be short-lived, and my love be enduring. Let me be quick to bless than to blame. Let me be more passionate about reconciliation than about revenge. Let me be more interested in healing than in proving I am right. Let me be more concerned with peace than with pride, because this world has enough rage. It has enough yelling. It has enough division. What it needs is people who can feel deeply without exploding, who can stand firm without striking, who can disagree without despising. Father, make me that kind of person. Let your spirit shape my temperament, mold my instincts, and soften my reflexes. When anger does rise, let it come like a wave that crashes, but does not destroy, that moves, but does not overwhelm. Let me find the still center in the storm, where you wait for me, where you speak not in thunder, but in whisper. Let me anchor my soul there. When I feel justified in my anger, remind me that even justified anger can become corrosive if not surrendered. When I want to hold on to it as a form of control, remind me that real power lies in release. When I want to punish with silence or glare with contempt, remind me that you did not treat me that way. You opened your arms. You welcomed me in. You gave me grace when I deserved wrath. And so, I carry that grace into this day. Father, I walk with a soul unclenched, a spirit unburdened, I choose to be slow not because I am weak, but because I am being shaped by you. I choose restraint, not because I have no fire, but because I want that fire to warm, not scorch. I choose peace, not because the world is peaceful, but because you are my peace. And in that peace, I begin again today. Father, in the quiet hush that follows surrender, when the weight of anger begins to lift and peace starts to settle in again, I realize how much I need something more than restraint. I need a heart that does not just avoid harshness, but overflows with compassion. It is not enough to silence the sharp word or stifle the impatient thought. I want to be transformed from the inside, to become someone whose first instinct is tenderness, whose first response is care. Let compassion not be a rare virtue in me, but a steady stream that flows into every corner of my day. From the moment I wake, let me see with eyes that look beneath the surface. Help me recognize pain hiding behind another person's anger. Let me sense the loneliness in someone's coldness. Let me perceive the fear behind another's harshness. Help me become curious about others rather than critical. Let me ask, not judge. Let me lean in, not recoil. Let me remember that most of what wounds me is not personal, is often a reflection of someone else's own hurt. And if I can be a mirror of your mercy instead of a sponge for their bitterness, I can change the atmosphere in ways I may never fully realize. Father, I do not want a soft heart only for those who treat me well. I want a soft heart for the difficult, the stubborn, the rude, the broken, for the person who cuts in line, the one who speaks with contempt, the one who lashes out without cause, for the person whose bitterness seeps into every conversation, who never says thank you, who never returns kindness. Remind me that it costs me little to offer what they may have never received: a look of understanding, a calm tone, an unexpected grace. And even when compassion feels like weakness, teach me again that it is strength. It takes courage to stay kind in a world that mocks kindness. It takes inner power to respond to hostility with calm, to stand in gentleness when others rush to retaliate. The world says compassion makes you a target, makes you naive, makes you vulnerable. But you showed otherwise. You carried compassion even when it cost you everything. You wept with those who grieved. You touched those considered untouchable. You forgave even those who nailed you down. You let love lead, even when it bled. Let that love soften the walls around my heart. If I have grown callous in places, numb from disappointment, or wearied by too many betrayals, then breathe life into those parts again. Let me not become hard to survive. Let me remain open, even when it hurts. Let me love without a guarantee. Let me give even when nothing comes back. Because that is how you love, and that is who I want to be. Father, grow in me a deep tenderness toward the vulnerable, toward the tired parent barely holding on, toward the elderly man who moves slowly, unnoticed, toward the cashier who has been on their feet all day, toward the child who misbehaves out of confusion, not rebellion, toward the coworker who seems cold but is quietly struggling. Let me be the one who sees what others overlook. Let me carry compassion not just in words, but in presence, in the way I listen, the way I wait, the way I touch. Let compassion spill into the way I speak, even to those who are closest, with my family. Let me not take kindness for granted. Let me not save my best tone for strangers and give the sharpness to those I love. Let me say thank you more. Let me apologize faster. Let me be generous not just with what I give, but with how I give it. Let my home be a sanctuary of mercy, not just a shelter from the world, but a place where forgiveness is quick, affection is abundant, and no one is afraid to be honest with myself. Father, help me extend the same compassion. You know how often I have been harsher with my own heart than I ever would be with another's. I berate myself for every flaw. I replay every mistake. I tell myself I should have known better, done better, been stronger, but you do not speak to me that way. You never expect perfection. You see my weakness and love me still. You are patient with my growing. Let me learn to speak to myself in your voice, kind, hopeful, never condemning. Let me forgive myself as freely as I forgive others, even in the small, ordinary interruptions of the day. Let compassion lead. When someone is slow, let me be patient. When someone forgets, let me be gentle. When someone disagrees, let me be gracious. Let me carry an inner posture of grace that no one sees, but everyone feels. Let my presence disarm. Let my warmth invite healing. Let people breathe easier because I walk beside them without judgment, without rush, without demand. Help me remember, Father, that compassion does not mean approval of all behavior. It is not passive. It does not ignore wrong or pretend that hurt does not exist. It is active. It is engaged. It steps into the mess, holds space for truth, and offers love anyway. Let me be brave enough to hold both conviction and kindness, to stand for what is right without forfeiting gentleness, to say hard things with a soft heart, to speak truth not to punish but to set free. Let compassion stretch beyond those I know. Let it widen to include the stranger, the outsider, the invisible. Let it shape my choices in how I spend, in how I serve, in what I support. Let my compassion inconvenience me. Let it interrupt my schedule, challenge my comfort, ask more of me than I plan to give, because that is what real love does. It steps in, not away. It leans closer, not back. It carries weight that is not its own. And when I feel empty, when I think I have nothing left to give, remind me that you are the well I draw from. Your love has no bottom. Your mercy has no end. I can return again and again and still find enough grace for me, enough grace for others, enough grace for every new moment that asks for it. Let me keep coming back to you, not to escape the world, but to be filled for it, so that I walk out not drained, but overflowing. Father, if I do nothing else today, let me be kind. Let me carry compassion like a torch in the dark, lighting one life at a time. Let me leave behind no wounds I did not try to heal. Let me be the one who pauses, who notices, who stays. Let me be a quiet voice of mercy in a loud world of judgment. Let me live in such a way that even the ones who do not know you can still glimpse your heart through mine. Father, in the quiet spaces where your compassion has gently softened the edges of my heart, I begin to understand something deeper, that true kindness is not only about what I do, but how I respond when I am pressed, provoked, or misunderstood. And so, from this place of stillness that you have nurtured in me, I ask you now to teach me the holy strength of being slow to anger, not the kind of slowness that avoids conflict out of fear, but the kind of slowness rooted in peace, grounded in love, shaped by wisdom that sees beyond the moment. Father, you know how easily my emotions can rise when I feel attacked, misrepresented, or ignored. You know how quickly my mind constructs defenses, how swiftly my voice sharpens to protect my pride. And yet you have shown me, time and again, that there is a more powerful response: silence when the room trembles with heat, gentleness when a storm brews, restraint when retaliation feels justified. Show me how to step back from the edge of reaction, not in weakness, but in deliberate love. Let me carry the pause that restores clarity. Let me be the one who chooses calm, even when chaos demands attention. Help me remember that anger is not always wrong, but it is rarely wise when it erupts unchecked. There is a time for righteous anger, for defending the voiceless, for confronting injustice, for standing against cruelty. But even then, let it not be the kind that consumes me, blinds me, or leaves ashes in its wake. Let my anger be shaped by mercy, not vengeance. Let it be brief, not brooding. Let it rise only when love demands action, not when ego craves victory. And let it always be wrapped in humility, never fueled by self-righteousness. Father, in moments when I feel provoked, give me eyes that see past the immediate. Let me ask what pain might be speaking through someone's words. Let me wonder what wound might be bleeding behind someone's harshness. Let me consider what story I do not know before I write my own in reaction. Teach me to value understanding more than being understood. Help me remember that the louder I shout, the less I hear. So quiet me when I want to explode. Steady me when I want to strike back. Let your spirit rise within me like a hand gently on my chest, saying, wait, breathe, listen. And when the anger does come, because I am still learning, still human, let it teach me, not shame me. Show me what it reveals about my unmet needs, my hidden fears, or my places of pride. Let me not push it down or pretend it is not there, but let me bring it to you raw and unfiltered. Shape it in your hands until it becomes something useful: courage without cruelty, truth without wrath, strength without damage. Let every flare of emotion become a doorway into deeper healing, not a chain reaction of regret. Help me also be slow to anger in the relationships that test me most, those who are closest to me, those I see every day. For it is here that my temper often hides, erupting when patience has run thin. Remind me that every harsh word I speak at home leaves a longer bruise than I realize. Let me measure my tone with love, not just my words. Let me build spaces where apologies are frequent, grace is abundant, and no one fears my reaction more than they trust my heart. With strangers too, Let me carry this slowness. When I am cut off in traffic, when someone speaks rudely in line, when a clerk makes a mistake, let me remember that my response is never small, that one gentle answer can disarm tension, that one choice to not escalate can ripple outward. Let me choose to lose an argument rather than lose my peace. Let me carry the quiet power of a person who does not need to win to feel worthy. Let me be unshaken not because I do not feel, but because I have learned how to feel with grace. And Father, even when I see others rage, others fight, others pour out bitterness into the air, let me not be drawn into their fire. Help me be a contrast. Let me be someone who refuses to return insult for insult, who refuses to carry the torch of resentment. Let me hold my dignity by laying down my weapons. Let me walk away when necessary, not out of defeat, but out of discernment. Let me stay when it matters, not to crush, but to build something better. Let my anger never become a mask for my hurt. Let it not become a wall between me and those I love. Let it not take root in the soil of my soul, growing into bitterness or cynicism. Teach me to feel it, name it, release it. Let forgiveness always be my home, not just a place I visit when I am tired of holding a grudge. Let it come quickly, not as a duty but as a freedom I choose again and again. Father, you are slow to anger, abounding in love, patient beyond human understanding. You do not punish quickly. You do not lash out. You wait. You listen. You give chance after chance. And even when you are grieved, you are still kind. Let me reflect that divine gentleness. Let my children, my friends, my colleagues, see a glimpse of you in how I handle tension, in how I resolve conflict, in how I admit when I am wrong. Let me be known not for how quickly I react, but for how carefully I respond. Let this slowness become a strength that anchors me. Let it be a wisdom that guards me. Let it be a gift I give to those who expect less. In a world that often glorifies outrage and rewards outbursts, let me be different. Let me shine by being steady. Let me rise above the noise not with louder words, but with quieter resolve. Let me become a presence that calms storms rather than stirs them. So today, Father, let me walk with the quiet confidence of one who has no need to defend every slight. Let me find peace not in control, but in surrender. Let me trust that you see all, and that justice does not depend on my fury. Let me let go of what I cannot change. Let me pray instead of argue. Let me bless instead of blame. Let me breathe before I break. Let me live slow to anger, full of grace, anchored in love, shaped in every moment by you. Father, as the quiet hush of morning gently fades into the rhythm of the day, I find myself looking back through this long and tender journey of prayer, and I am filled with gratitude for every moment we have shared in stillness, in surrender, and in awakening. From the very first breath I drew this morning to this final whisper of reflection, you have been near, closer than the beating of my heart, more constant than the rising of the sun. You have walked beside me through every chapter, guiding me, shaping me, softening the sharp edges of my soul, and filling the empty corners with purpose and peace. You have shown me what it means to rise with intention, to carry blessing in my words, to meet each hour with grace. And now, Father, as I bring this sacred time of prayer into its final stretch, I do not bring an end, I bring a beginning of a day lived differently, a life breathed from a deeper well, a journey walked with eyes wide open to your presence in the smallest things. I do not want to leave this space and return unchanged. I want to carry what you have poured into me out into the noise, into the ordinary, into the messy and the miraculous alike. Let the peace I have received not stay hidden within me, but flow outward. Let the wisdom I have gleaned not sit dormant, but move in kindness, in patience, in choices that align with truth. Let my life reflect your light, not just in what I say, but in how I show up, in how I respond when I am tired, in how I serve when no one is watching, in how I hold my tongue when my pride is wounded, in how I give when I feel like retreating. Let others sense something different in my presence, not perfection, not pretense, but a quiet steadiness, a heart anchored in something deeper than circumstance. Let me be a vessel through which hope is passed, through which healing begins, through which love becomes tangible. Let this day not slip through my fingers like sand, lost to routine or regret. Let it be a seed I plant in faith. Let every word I speak carry weight. Let every action reflect intention. Let me pause often enough to notice beauty, slow down enough to really listen, and remain open enough to be interrupted by grace. Let me not rush past the wonder. Let me find you in the laughter of a child, in the quiet of an empty room, in the moment of eye contact with a stranger. Let me be present to the gifts hidden in the now. If pain comes, let me sit with it without letting it define me. If joy arrives, let me drink deeply without clinging. If challenge meets me, let me face it with resilience rooted in trust. And if peace surrounds me, let me rest in it without guilt, letting it restore me fully. Let me not fear the ebb and flow of emotions, but bring all of them to you with open hands and an honest heart. Let nothing in me be hidden, and let nothing about you be kept distant. Father, in this final moment of reflection, I see more clearly that every morning is not just a beginning, it is an invitation to co-create a day with you, to build something beautiful out of ordinary hours, to shape eternity with acts of love no one may ever notice. And so I say yes again. Yes to the quiet call to be faithful. Yes to the path that requires courage. Yes to the whispers that draw me into compassion. Yes to the unseen seeds I am meant to sow today. I do not need to see the harvest to believe it matters. I only need to walk in step with you. Let your spirit guide my words and decisions. Let it correct me gently when I veer off course. Let it lift my eyes when I grow discouraged. Let it guard my heart from fear and weariness. Let it breathe new life into my weary bones when I feel spent. Let it dance in my laughter and sit with me in my tears. Let it be the unseen thread that holds me together when the world feels fragmented. Let it be my compass, my comfort, and my fire, even as this prayer ends. Father, let my listening continue. Let me stay attuned to the gentle nudges, the inner stirrings, the unexpected insights that carry your signature. Let me not rush away from this moment, but carry it like a flame within. Let every breath I take today be a quiet acknowledgement that I belong to something bigger than my fears, stronger than my failures, deeper than my doubts. Let me live not just with faith, but in faith that is active, moving, brave. Thank you for meeting me here. Thank you for seeing me, even when I did not know what I needed. Thank you for being steady when I wavered. Thank you for believing in me, even when I doubted myself. Thank you for shaping me, layer by layer, through each of these prayers, and reminding me that transformation is never rushed, never loud. It is a gentle unfolding. It is a becoming. To those who have journeyed through this prayer with me, thank you. Thank you for walking this path with open hearts and willing spirits. Your presence here is not unnoticed. You are part of something sacred. Your voice matters. Your faith matters. Your desire to grow, to heal, to seek truth, it matters. I invite you now to reflect, to write down what's stirred in you, to let your own prayer rise. Share what you have felt, what you have found, what you are still reaching for. This is not the end. This is a place we return to daily. And if this prayer has met you, blessed you, or lifted you in some way, I invite you to share it forward. Let someone else find the comfort you have found. Let this light move from heart to heart. Let this be a thread that weaves us together in something greater than words. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already. Share this video with someone who needs it. Let us continue walking in faith together, day by day, moment by moment. And now, as the morning stretches fully into day, I sit quietly one last time, and I notice how the soft golden light filters through the window, how the cool breeze brushes gently across my skin, how everything feels washed in newness, in clarity, in quiet hope. And I rise not as someone who has reached the end, but as someone who has only just begun.